Hey, Jeff Justice here with Jeff Justice Seminars for Court Reporters. I want to thank you so much for deciding to choose us to get your online CEUs with. We promise not to disappoint you. We provide laugh-packed, content-rich seminars so that you can get your CEUs from the comfort of your own home or office. So basically, you're going to watch the videos as you do, print out the PDFs for the quizzes, answer the questions as you go along. At the end of the whole seminar, so if you're taking a 10-hour seminar after you finish all the sections, email me all of your answers. I will grade them and get you back your letter of completion for your state, and if you're an RPR, the proper forms for NCRA. So get ready to laugh and learn with Jeff Justice Seminars for Court Reporters. All right, so now the ethics part of our program, Constructing Ethics. Nice round of applause for Pam Coder.
Hi, everybody. So we're going to do some different things today. We're going to play a little game a little bit later, but right now we're going to talk about NCRA stuff. Okay. So let's talk about this: the Code of Professional Ethics for NCRA. Anybody know what all they are? Can anybody quote them to me? Anybody familiar with them at all? Most of us aren't, right? We kind of know, but do we really? So let's just kind of talk about them. The first one, this is all falling off. Let me move this. The first one is we have to be fair and impartial. We all know that, right? Be fair and impartial towards each participant in all aspects of reporting proceedings, which means providing comparable services to all parties, right? We all know that. Okay. Second, be alert to conflicts of interest. Who can tell me what a conflict of interest would be? Anybody? What would be a conflict of interest?
For instance, I had my ex-husband as the lawyer on the other side of the depot I was supposed to be at.
Ex-husband on the other side?
Yeah, but what side is she on?
The attorney that called me,
Right.
and it was going to be my ex-husband, and so basically, I take it back, he turned the case over to my ex-husband, so the opposing counsel knew I was his ex-wife, and objected to me being the court reporter, which I would recuse myself anyway, because I just think that's iffy.
Right. So her ex-husband was going to be the attorney. She was going to be the court reporter, so that's kind of a conflict of interest, right? What are some other conflicts of interest? Anybody? Like, and this has happened to me a couple of times, you know, and it could potentially be a conflict. It didn't end up being one, but I ran into some, this has happened to me like 4 times. It's a small world, right? People that I went to high school with that I haven't seen in 25 years. They walked in, and of course women, you know, you don't really know what, if you haven't seen them in forever, you don't know what their last name is, right? So I'm looking at this one notice and I'm like, this name looks vaguely familiar, you know, and she walks in and I'm like, immediately I was like, oh my God, I went to high school with her. And she looked at me, oh my God, I went to high school with you. And so the first thing I did was I said, okay, everybody, we went to high school together. We were friends in junior high and high school, but I haven't seen her in 20 years. Anybody opposed to me doing this deposition? Of course, nobody was opposed, but I put it on the record. Because if later on there's an argument about that and I didn't put it on the record, that could be a problem, right? They may be losing their case and they need something to grasp onto. That could be something they could have grasped onto, right? So anytime that kind of thing happens, I always like to have them all agree and put it on the record just for safety's sake. And that's literally happened to me 4 times. Isn't that crazy? You wouldn't think. You know, one time I didn't even recognize the guy, and we were going through all his background. He was saying where he went to high school and all this, and I'm like, because he didn't look the same at all. And I'm like, oh my God. So at a break, I realized after he was saying all this, I was like, oh my God, that's Ronnie. You know, and so at a break, I was like, just so y'all know, he didn't recognize me and I didn't recognize him. But I said, you know, we went to high school together, and I know he doesn't remember me because I barely remember him, but I'm just throwing it out there. Because I thought, if he sees my name, because I use my maiden name, like Pam Gwen Coder, I do the whole thing. So I'm like, okay, if he sees that on there, he may go, duh, you know, click. That name is familiar to me. You know, so just for safety's sake, you know, you may just want to throw it out there and just let people know, just in case. Okay, let's see. We want to guard against not only the fact or the appearance of impropriety. What would be something that you would consider maybe that somebody might not like if you're in a deposition? I'll give you an example. I have a friend who shall remain nameless, who is very good friends with one of her clients. Very good, such good friends that she takes his private plane on vacation, which to me is a severe conflict of interest. I don't think that you should be doing that. I mean, that's just me. I wouldn't do it. But, you know, they've been friends for a long time. She's been a court reporter for a long time. And, you know, with my own clients, that I have a client, he's been my client since 1998. We don't socialize personally, because I just don't feel comfortable with that. But he's been my client forever. And so we talk, we chat and everything before, but when everybody else walks in the room, it's done. We cut off. You know, we become the professionals that we are. So to me, that is getting rid of that appearance of impropriety. Because you don't want to be sitting there talking with your attorney client about personal things that you two know about because you're friends, and then the other person walks in and they're kind of like, you know, this is not, I don't like this is not good. So that's kind of the avoiding the appearance of impropriety. Anybody have anything along those lines you'd like to talk about? Everybody good with that? Okay, cool. Okay. Next one, preserve the confidentiality and ensure the security of information, oral or written, entrusted to the member by any parties in a proceeding. So what is that telling us? We don't want to talk about our cases, right? I mean, to me, I talk with other reporters about my cases because a lot of times when we're working together on a case, a lot of the firms I work with, they will try to put two people on a case in case something happens, so that there's two people working on it, especially if it's something, I do a lot of patent litigation and a lot of big construction cases, so it's a lot of stuff with
5 pages of index of names and words. So we try to work together as a team so that we don't have to keep asking them every deposition, how do you spell this, how do you spell this, because they get sick of that, right? So that's kind of preserving that, making sure just, you know, we talk among ourselves, and we talk with our scopists, right? Because if you use a scopist, they're doing your job. But we don't talk with outside people about our cases. And has everybody been HIPAA certified? You all know, does anybody know, does anybody not know about the HIPAA certification?
I've heard about it, but don't know.
Okay.
Need to know more.
Let's talk about that. And I didn't bring the website with me. If you go on and look up HIPAA online, there's some classes you can take. They're very short. Usually they have a bunch of questions they ask you, then they give you a little certificate at the end that you can carry around with you. They haven't talked about it a lot lately. I really, back at, 3 years ago, it was a big deal. And I remember I worked for a big box company at that time, and we all had to go in for an hour lecture on HIPAA. And what that includes is, making sure, because we all deal with people's personal information, their addresses, social security, birth dates, medical records. Anybody who is supposedly dealing with those things is supposed to have HIPAA certification. And it's telling you basically to make sure all of your information is kept in a safe place. So like if you're keeping a lot of records at your home or in your office, they need to be in a secured location. They need to be in a locked file cabinet. If you're using thumb drives or SD cards, they need to be password protected. If you have your computer on a job, you don't want to walk out of the room and leave your computer on where somebody can come in there and look at the testimony while you're not in the room. That's the kind of thing that HIPAA certification explains to you, because technically, if you lose something, like if you have medical records, for example, and they're in your car, and this happened to an attorney, I think it was last year, they purposely waited to go get all the medical records for this case they were about to go to in another city till right before it was time to leave. So he goes and picks up the medical records, is headed out, stops at Starbucks. Somebody breaks into his car, takes his computer and all the files. So now he's liable because they could identity thieves, right? Take all that information, steal these people's identities. So what happens is you're responsible. If you don't go up the chain, and the first thing he did was let his firm know so they could let their insurance company know, and they could let the people whose records were stolen know, so they could keep an eye on all of their accounts and make sure they weren't being defrauded, because they could be sued and they could actually go to jail for that. So what they started doing is having us take all this HIPAA certification. It's supposed to apply to anyone who deals with any information like this. So that would be court reporters, scopists, paralegals, attorneys. Most attorneys don't even know that they're supposed to have HIPAA certification. There has not been a law passed. There's been nothing passed. It's just been something that people have recommended, and it's been talked about. A lot of firms, especially the big firms, they will call meetings and have you come in and do this training. I don't know if any of you work for Kim Tyndall at all, but Kim has her own training. It's awesome. She'll have you watch this thing, and then you answer this whole book of questions, and then you get a certificate at the end of it. You can take the training online. It's like 25 bucks. And basically, it's just telling you to keep and how to keep things safe, so that somebody can't steal somebody else's information, and how you can go to jail if you don't do what's necessary and follow the steps. That's basically what it is.
But is it required as part of our certification yet?
It's
No.
still not technically required, no. Supposedly, we're supposed to have it every 2 years, but it's not been, quote, required yet. Yes, sir.
Does that apply to NSA,
To,
NSA, national?
oh, the national, no, this is what I've been told, okay? I went to the National Association conference this year in New York, and people were talking about it there for kind of the first time. You didn't really hear about it too much before that. And now they're starting to talk about it a little too. I think it really started here in Texas more than anywhere else. This is where people were talking about it first, which was probably, I want to say 4 years ago. 3 or 4, maybe 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And now they're talking about it, and more firms are starting to have their people take these little courses just for safety's sake. Just so that they know what they need to do with their stuff, because who would have thought, I never password protected my SD cards. I mean, because they're not out of my possession. But then again, if somebody stole my stuff, it's in my computer. They would have access to all, because I back up all of my depots on my SD card when I'm done. So they would have access to all this information. And you don't think about these things until something happens. So they're just trying to prevent something happening ahead of time. So it's still not a requirement. It's not been told we must do this. A lot of the big firms make you do it. They'll have you come in. They won't. Some firms actually won't hire you. There was a couple of firms that called me to take jobs from other states, and that was the first question they asked me: have you been HIPAA certified? And I'm like, yes. With one of the firms I worked with, we had to go through HIPAA training. And there are firms that ask you that. There's attorneys that ask you that. I walked into a depot one day, and this was a progressive attorney who knew, because most attorneys have no clue. And I walked in, that's the first question he asked me: have you had HIPAA training? And I'm like, oh yes sir, absolutely. That's the only person that's ever asked me that. And it was like probably a 28-year-old attorney. First and only time in all this time I've been asked that question. And I was able to say yes. What would happen? And I'm thinking, okay, what would have happened if I'd have said no? He'd have probably made me leave, and he would have hired somebody else. So it's just probably a good thing just to do it. It's 25 bucks, just do it so that you kind of feel better about what they're asking you and how to keep your stuff safe. It's not that big of a deal. But technically it's supposed to be every 2 years, and it's time for me to take it again. It's probably 3 years ago for me right now. Okay. Be truthful and accurate when making public statements or when advertising your qualifications. Anybody got comments on that? What do they mean by being truthful and accurate? If, and I don't really hear this too much, but I had an attorney ask me this question. He's like, are you certified to be doing real time? Well, we don't have to be here in Texas, right? You don't have to be certified to do real time. You do if you work in a federal court, but you don't if you're doing anything else. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Well, basically what this is saying to me is if don't say that you're certified if you're not certified. Basically, that's all it's telling me. And most of us aren't doing that, right? Okay. And also, it's also telling, some of these are saying, like, if you go to a job And let's say, for example, you're a brand new court reporter. I don't think any of you here are probably brand new, but let's say you're a brand new court reporter and you're working for a firm who doesn't really pay attention to what they're sending you on. Happens, right? They put you on a patent litigation. You've been out 2 weeks. You're in a patent litigation. Probably not a good fit, right? That person's probably completely unprepared for that job. So if you get there and it's over your head, what should you do? Have any of y'all ever gone to a job that you felt like you just wanted to cry and you felt like it was completely over your head? I know I've been there, done that. When I first started reporting, I will never forget this as long as I live. I had been reporting probably 3 weeks. And I walk into a firm and I'm, pretty new, and I felt like I was pretty well trained because I worked for Karen Shady. I don't know if any of y'all know Karen. And she put me through the ringer for 6 months before she let me go out on my own. And so I felt pretty prepared, but I walked into this firm. It was a big firm, and told the lady, I'm here for this deposition. She was like, oh, they're waiting for you. And I'm thinking, waiting for me? I'm an hour early. Because back then, when you're new, you're always early, right? So I was an hour early, and I'm thinking, okay, waiting for me. And that was kind of scary. I thought, oh my God, did I get the wrong time, And I walk in, I'm setting up, and they're literally waiting for me. And there is a slew of people in this room. And I'm looking at my notes going, this says I have 2 attorneys? And I had 5. I had like 7, and a witness and a videographer. And, there was a play, it was supposed to be videoed, and the videographer wasn't there. And I'm thinking, okay, so I'm setting up, because they're telling me they're waiting for me, right? And they're all rushing me, and I'm thinking, oh my God. And so I'm setting up, and then I'm all set up, ready to go, and we get on the record, and they start talking, and I'm getting everybody's name, and I'm looking at my notice going, I don't have any of these names on my notice. Oh my God. And I'm kind of freaking out, and I'm like, they gave me the wrong notice. Oh my God, they gave me the wrong notice. I'm at the wrong place, So we're going along, and we've been going an hour. All of a sudden, this videographer and court reporter walks in the room. Okay? They're late for a deposition that was supposed to start at 9. I got sent into the wrong room. I'm in the wrong room. That was their case. So I have people in another room waiting for me. And so I'm like, oh my God, because I didn't realize I went where I was told to go, right? I'm new. I didn't know what I was doing. I went in and we're on the record. Well, this is an expert witness. It was a toxicologist. It was 500 pages of hell. And I was 3 weeks out. And it was a rush. They left me in there because we had already been going an hour, right? What had happened was, she said, who took the other one? Well, what happened was they called my firm and said, hey, your reporter's not here. So Karen freaked out because she's thinking, oh my God, what happened to Pam? She's always on time, da-da-da. So she walks around and she sees me in the other room. So she took the job. She went in and took the job. And so at a break, I'm like, when I'm realizing what's happening at this point, after they realized what happened, the attorneys were like, well, she's here, she's already gone an hour, we're going to use her. And so the other guy had to leave, and the videographer, they ended up not videoing it. So they left, I'm there, I'm brand new, I'm freaking out, but I'm like, they don't know I'm brand new, I'm checking them out. I'm like, no problem. Inside, I'm a mess. I'm like freaking out. And so at a break, I just happened to be in the bathroom at the same time as Karen, and I go, oh my God, is everything okay? And she's like, girl, go. I'm like, okay. I was like, I had no idea. I thought I was in the right place. And so afterwards, we figured out what all happened. And then she had to call 3 reporters in to help me get the job out because it was an overnight rush. It was 500 pages. We were there till midnight, and I was freaked out. I'm like, I'm new. I have no dictionary, right? I'm brand new. That was the scariest thing in my life right there. So, stuff happens, right? Right? There's nothing like being thrown to the wolves when you're new. But, so also, we want to determine our fees independently. You know how you get on Facebook? And people are talking about, I don't know if any of y'all are on Facebook, I'm not on there very often, but sometimes they're talking about, especially on the event page, if y'all are on the event page, they're talking about rates, okay? And people will say, we can't talk about rates. We can't talk about that, we're gonna get in trouble, we can't talk about that. Well, we're not supposed to talk about that. So we have to refrain from discussing that and basically colluding and all having the same page rates. Even though we all kind of know what our typical page rates are. I know that y'all's rates are higher here in Dallas than they are where I am in Houston. So, that's kind of a given. But we all have to kind of not talk about those kinds of things, okay? And let's see. Oh, this is a good one because this one's different. What about gift giving? Do any of y'all give gifts to your clients?
Mm-hmm.
How much do you spend on your clients?
Well, I think the rule now is only $25 per person per year. $25.
Actually, there's two different rules. But since we're in Texas, we have to follow Texas rules. NCRA says 125 aggregate.
For the firm, right?
Yes, aggregate for the firm per year. Texas is 100.
Gosh, that's not very much.
So NCRA is 125, Texas is 100, so we have to follow Texas rules. So we can give them $100 per year. That's really not very much, right?
No.
So is it okay? Well, I'm just gonna throw this question out there. Is it okay to offer gift certificates to secretaries of $25, let's say, for every depot they give you for a case? Is it kosher? Is it cool? No. People are doing that in some places, but no, we can't do that here.
Say it again, 25.
They're offering $25 gift cards for every deposition that they get in the case.
It's called bribery.
Yes, it is. It's called bribery. Yeah, we are not allowed to do that. Yeah. We're, like they said, in the aggregate, like you can give them, you're taking it out for a cup of coffee, that kind of thing. I mean, who's going to count that? I mean, in my head, I'm like not even thinking about, I just spent $8 on coffee for this guy, Okay, I got to write that in my log because I can only give him so many cups of coffee if he is only allowed $25. Like I'm really going to do that, But you can't give out like big gift baskets, worth a ton of money. You can't do that. Nobody, like she said, who's enforcing this? Nobody's really enforcing it, but you can be complained against. Now, I'm going to give you an example because this actually, I was told this in one of my other seminars, that this one lady gave out, I'm trying to think of how much it was, but she gave out this big gift basket. I want to say it was wine. I think it was wine. She got this big wine gift basket to a secretary at a law firm to try and get their business, right? And the attorney walked in. And he was one of those attorneys that's completely against the gift giving thing. He went absolutely ballistic and wanted to know what the name of the firm was. He called the certification board and reported them.
Wow.
Because it was above the $100, aggregate.
But what did the board do?
They're supposed to.
Slap their hand?
Yeah, they're supposed to slap their hand and fine them, whatever. But no, nothing really happened. But he told everybody and refused to use that firm. So, and some people are going to take it and not say a word. Some people may turn you in. You just have to be careful with the gift giving. We have rules, we're supposed to follow them, right?
There's, my
Yes,
nephew
ma'am.
is a lawyer here in Dallas, and he said, Susan, you would not believe these court reporters come to our offices. I mean, he's a pretty big firm, maybe 15. He said, they bring us gift baskets, food. I mean,
Yeah.
he says, we just got so much
stuff.
buffet.
Yeah.
Because, he was talking to me about
And they
this.
bring lunches.
They bring everything.
She's
So,
saying
I don't know
they-
who these girls are, but he said they're cute.
For those at home,
Yeah.
she's saying that. For those at home, she's saying that they bring gift baskets and lunches and big boxes of stuff as treats for everybody, and we just can't be doing that kind of thing. And I want my work to stand on its own. I know there was a firm that I used to work for that wanted us to take cookies. Well, I don't know about you guys. I work 120-hour weeks. I'm running a school. I do seminars. I work full-time as a freelancer. I don't have time to bake cookies. Are you kidding me? I mean, I barely have time to eat, much less make cookies. I'm not doing it. If my work can't stand on its own, I'm not gonna go take a bunch of stuff. I will take, like, I take candy in my bag, and I'll offer candy, I'll just like take a little bag of candy and I'll offer it. And if I know I'm going to be on an all-day depot, if I've already taken this case, I know they're going to go all day, and by 3 o'clock everybody's cranky, I'll bring chocolate chip cookies, because I don't want that crankiness, right? But I don't do that like every single deposition. I kind of base it on how long we're going to be there, who the people are, if I know they're going to touch it, because half the time I take food, especially like I used to take breakfast food. I'd stop and get breakfast tacos. They would sit there and nobody would touch them. And I'd take kolaches, and when you have people from out of town, I would do that for out of town attorneys. They're like, what the heck is a kolache? I'm not eating that bread. And you're sitting there, nobody's touching it, and I'm like, I'm spending all this money, it's a waste. So I'm like, I finally got to the point, I'm like, you know what, if my work can't stand on its own, then I'm just not doing this. Yes, ma'am.
This goes back to the impartiality question, and it's totally unrelated to anything here, but I've got it coming up. I'm an official in a small East Texas town, so everybody knows everybody and his friends. Our district attorney is getting married in 2 weeks in Austin.
Okay.
I received an invitation to the wedding. Not one single attorney in our district did.
Wow.
My judge has got an invitation. I was planning on going to the wedding. I'll RSVP that yes, my husband and I would go to the wedding. And I had somebody go, you're going to Will's wedding? Isn't that sort of not really right? And I'm thinking,
it's a wedding.
It's a wedding.
And I can spend whatever I want to on their gift.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would say so. That's a wedding. It's not like you're giving them a gift for something to get their business. It's a special occasion. It's a wedding. I would say go for it.
Yeah. Our court coordinator said you're going to the wedding. Are you sure you're allowed to do that?
Probably just jealous because she didn't get an invitation. But I would say, I mean, people don't realize as court reporters, we work so closely with people. I mean, I see the same attorneys I've been seeing for 22 years all the time. I mean, you get a personal relationship with these people at some point. And if they invited me to something, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I mean, because, how many times does that happen? I mean,
I hadn't thought about anything about it until she said that the other day. I'm like,
I would say there's nothing wrong with that. I would say go for it. And spend whatever you want. It's a wedding gift. It's not, you're not bribing them for their work, Right. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but I think some of these, I don't want to maybe hide who's doing big gifts, but probably large firms, brokering firms, or nationwide syndicated firms, or whatever. But I think a lot of attorneys are turned off by that.
Yes.
I've heard them talk. Talk about it.
And what she's saying is a lot of the attorneys she thinks she's been hearing talk, that they're kind of turned off by all these big gifts.
They know it's a bribe.
Yeah, it's sort of like they see it kind of as a bribe. I know that there's a firm that is my client, that I have 4 of the attorneys out of this kind of a large firm, and they're kind of in one practice area, and they're all my client, and they're all very health conscious. And they don't like all that stuff. And people, I go in and there's all this stuff everywhere, and they're like, ugh. And so I make it a point every Christmas, I take a giant fruit basket, because they're super health conscious. And they're always like, oh my God, you're so awesome. We have all this pie and cake and cookies. And thank you for bringing fruit. It's like, because I've gotten to know the attorneys and I know what they're wanting. So they get kind of annoyed when people are bringing all this stuff that they don't want because they're on diets or they're diabetic or whatever, So I always try, and I think about that too. A lot of attorneys are diabetic. So I carry sugar-free candy in my bag, and I carry regular candy. And I'll go, okay, I have both. Here you go. Anybody diabetic? I'm always like careful about that. And I'm one of those crazy reporters. I carry mounds of cough drops in my bag because I don't want people coughing all over me. I don't know if y'all, I always have people coughing all over me. And I remember this one depot I had, I'll never forget this. It was an expert and he was very sick. He'd had the flu. and he was just getting over it, and he was coughing and coughing and coughing, and so I was like, okay, he was turning to me every time he coughed, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get sick, and I had all these cough drops, so I pulled them out of my bag. I didn't realize at the time I had 4 bags in my thing. Usually I only have 1 bag, but I had 4. I guess I had just gone to the store, I don't even know why. And so I pulled out a bag of cough drops and I poured them on the table. And I also carried Kleenex, so I pulled out my little thing of Kleenex and I stuck them on the table. And so he was eating them like candy, right? So he'd stop coughing. And so he'd get to the end of that bag and I'd pull out another bag and I'd drop it on the table. He'd finish the Kleenex and I'd put the Kleenex on the table. And the attorneys were laughing, they thought it was funny. And so about 3 weeks later, my office calls me and they're like, you got a really strange package. We opened it because we thought it was exhibits. And I remember him asking me for my card when he left, and I didn't think anything about it, right? And I'm like, okay, sure, here you go, you know. And so they're like, it's really strange. And I'm like, well, what is it? And, you know, I'm thinking, what the heck could somebody send me at the office? They're like, it's like an entire case of cough drops. And I started laughing, and I was like, oh my God, it's that witness. So he had sent me a thing, you know, with an entire box of cough drops. I thought that was so sweet. That was funny.
Had a similar, okay, I won't go into all the detail, but a similar situation where they kept asking me for things that were unrelated to depot, and I kept reaching, I had all of it in my bag.
Right.
And the attorney turns, and they go, you know, court reporters are like moms, they have everything.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. You got a tape measure? And I pull out my tape measure. They're like, seriously, you have a tape measure in your bag? Yeah. You know, take a lot of accident reconstructionists, you know, whatever. Okay, so let's see. Also, do any of you ever do any pro bono stuff?
No.
I know, you know, and I mean, I've been getting these lately from, I don't know if y'all have been seeing these from Beth at TCRA. I've been getting some pro bono stuff from Beth at TCRA. Beth Falk, everybody knows who Beth Falk is, right? Secretary of TCRA. And she'll send something over. They need some kind of depot for something that I don't know what it is. And I've been getting a lot of those lately. So, you know, if you can ever help out, it's great to do one every so often. I've been getting a lot of those lately. I don't know what's up with that, but that's probably the 4th one I've gotten this year for something pro bono, which is kind of odd to have that many, and you know, in a short period of time. But yeah, if you can help out, that's great. I mean, but we're all working for money, right? So, but just wanted to just sort of bring that out. We want to maintain the integrity of the reporting profession. So I have a question, okay? So how many of you know about the new association in Texas? Any of you? Do any of you ever go to the TCRA conventions, or are you members of TCRA?
No.
I highly recommend it, and I'm just going to tell you why, okay? Mary Berry is awesome. She's the new president of TCRA. She is doing a phenomenal job, I think, with what she has to work with. There is a new association, however, called, and how many of you in here are officials? How many of you are freelancers? Cart providers? Captioners? Okay. There's a new association called the Texas Deposition Reporters Association. It's brand new, just probably been around 2 weeks, maybe 3. It's by Susan Miller, Mike Miller, Depot Man. Okay. There's a lot of controversy right now about the 1/3 rule. There's a group of reporters that want to have that repealed, and they want us to be able to charge what we want to be able to charge and not have that 1/3 rule. I kind of see both sides. We're not going to get into a discussion about that. But if you want to go check out their site, it's Texas Deposition Reporters Association. So if you type that in, I'll give you the website. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But it'll explain what's going on. It'll explain why the 1/3 rule was put into place to begin with and what they're trying to do to get rid of that. Okay? Now, here's my question. We want to maintain the integrity of our profession, right? Now we have 2 associations. We've got people fighting like crazy. It's insane. I know y'all haven't been to some of these sessions, so you probably don't know about all the stuff that's going on. You might want to research it. Mary is doing her best to try to get things moving. Mary's an official in San Antonio. She does an awesome job. It would be great if we all give them our support. I'm going to join both because I want to see what happens. I want to see who does what. Susan Miller is taking charge of Texas Depot Reporters Association. Mary Berry is in charge of, she was voted in as the Texas Court Reporters Association president. So there's a lot going on in our profession right now. If you're not up to speed on that, you may want to go to both websites and check it out and decide for yourself. Okay? Just throwing it out there. Now, and we also have to abide by their bylaws. This is NCRA we're talking about. Okay? Now, I bet y'all didn't know this was up on the website because I didn't know. This didn't used to be there. There's some new stuff up on NCRA. How many of you are NCRA members? Anybody? Oh my God, for real? Okay. Okay, let's talk about NCRA. I know there was a period of time when I wasn't a member of NCRA because I felt like they didn't represent me as a deposition reporter. I'm a freelancer, okay? So, and they are trying to change that. I know that they, the new president is from New York. He is an official, but I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try, but I'm sure Zinones, I think. Sorry if I messed that up. But he seems like a nice guy. He's trying to do a good job. I'm actually I'm supposed to be on 2 committees. I'm on the Real-Time Systems Administrator Committee. Does anybody know what the Real-Time Systems Administrator is? That is a test you take for connecting real-time, so that you know all the different ways and troubleshooting, connecting, making sure that you can help people and you know what you're doing when you're doing real-time. So I have that certification and I'm on that committee, which I haven't had time to mess with. But I'm also on the school committee because for those of you who don't know, I own a school in Houston, night school, the Real-Time Academy of Court Reporting. And I'm on the school committee, I'm the co-chair, and we are trying to get more students into court reporting because I don't know if many of you know this, but we have a humongous shortage of reporters. By next year, we will have 5,500 jobs open. Right now, there are a ton of official positions open in a lot of different states. A lot, and they can't fill them because there's nobody to take the jobs. There's a bunch. Yeah, it depends. Some of them actually are really good paying jobs. 75 and 80. You know what? I don't have my list. Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, some of these are rural areas too. You know, some of them are rural, and they're just having a hard time. And captioning, there's a huge shortage of captioners. And I know that Caption Colorado is trying to find people right now. I just got a letter in the mail from them. They're desperate trying to find people. There's a shortage of cart providers. And they're trying to make the rule that cart providers now have to be certified. And so we're already having trouble getting cart providers. You make them certified, then what happens, right? You don't make enough, I don't make enough money doing cart. I mean, I love to help out when I can, but you know, you can't make a living doing cart. You know, you just can't. So some things are going to have to change.
I've read something on an independent network of reporters, 2 of them actually, here in Texas, and so I get a lot of my news about some of this, something I've read, don't quote me on the stats, but something about, I think the average age of court, the majority of court reporters now is like 48,
it is.
40s.
She's saying the average age of court reporters right now is like in their late 40s, early 50s.
In other words, we're not getting new blood.
We're not getting new blood.
That's scary.
It's true. I'll tell you that right now, does anybody have an idea how many students I have? I have a night school. Any idea how many students I have? Oh, gosh. Any clue? 7. And I have been busting my rear to get people in the door. And I have 7. It's been so bad that Alvin Community College, those of you who know Alvin's been around forever, Alvin was told if they didn't get their numbers up by their brand new dean, they were shutting them down. So somehow they went in, our officials in Houston got together and they worked their tails off and they went into the classrooms at Alvin and recruited and managed to get 20 people for this quarter. Otherwise they were being shut down. So they had 20 new starts for this quarter. Now Mark has had the same problem, Mark Kislinberry. He's had a problem too getting students in the door. And Mark has the name, you know, the Guinness World Record holder. People want to learn from Mark. And Mark has had a hard time too. But Mark has new starts this year. He's got new starts. I didn't have any new starts. But I am a night school. I'm only night school. I'm not a day school. So it's very difficult to get people in. And we are very fortunate in a couple of areas. I don't know if y'all have this here, but in San Antonio, there's a group of official reporters, Tanya Thompson, Mary Berry, a bunch of them that are working together as a team, and they are doing live dictation for students at San Antonio College. And they are working with them to help them get through school because they need people to replace them when they retire, and they're all in their 50s. So they are working very hard to do that. In Houston, we have the same thing. We have a lot of officials who've kind of banded together. There's also some officials in Corpus, Sonia Trevino in Corpus. She's got a group of people down there doing the same thing. And they are working very hard to doing live dictation with students in the different schools, trying to help them get those students graduated and out in the work world.
Yeah, I was going to get your take on why do you think this is? Do you think it's several factors?
I think it's a lot of things. I think number one, people don't really know what we do. They don't really understand. When I walk in, this is sort of when I walk into a school, I do a lot of talking at the different high schools and colleges. And so when I go in, the first question I ask is, anybody know what a court reporter does? They're like, oh, you're that lady who sits behind the little machine in court and the paper's rolling out. And I'm like, well, yeah, we used to do that, but paper doesn't roll like that. We don't have paper anymore. So I kind of explain and I talk about how we do CART and we do captioning, and I was like, those little things across the TV screen, that's a court reporter. They're like, for real? That's court reporter? I want to do that. You know, I think the problem is, the main problem is they don't really know what we do. They have no clue. Nobody really talks about it, you know, unless you're a kid of a court reporter or a niece or nephew of a court reporter. You don't really know. People just don't know what we do. And so I have a thing, and people think I'm crazy. Wherever I go, I take business cards for school, right? It's just habit. And so anytime I'm in a checkout line or I'm at fast food, anywhere I am, when I give cash over or credit card, they also get a business card wherever I'm at. I also put them in bathrooms everywhere. Wherever I'm at, there's business cards. I put them everywhere. If I'm in a bathroom, I put them on the sink. If I'm, wherever I'm at, they're going to get a business card because people need to know that we're out there and that there's this profession. When I walk into a law firm to do a deposition, I go straight to the receptionist. Know anybody that might want to be a court reporter? Here's 5 cards. Please hand them out this week. And I just give them to everyone. And I've been doing that for 4 years. And I still only have 7 students.
Well, yeah, and that's my question. Do you think, because it didn't used to be that way. Mm-hmm. So do you think it's because...
It used to be advertised. Well, remember all the commercials? Remember the Shirley Baker commercial with the Mercedes and the woman in the fur coat? Riding a horse. Yeah. Remember that? Remember those commercials? Well, so here's what we did. I spoke at the last convention in New York about this issue, about the recruiting issue. And my thing was we need to kind of do some stuff as schools. We're all out there fighting on our own, trying to get students in the door. And I'm like, why are we fighting on our own when we could be doing this together? Well, and I don't want to be mean to NCRA, but they're just not helping. I talked to them and I said, this is what we want to do. We sat down in my seminar and we came up with a plan. There's all these teachers in there, some school owners, and I tried to get reporters to come into mine because I felt like reporters want to help, but they don't know what to do. So I invited reporters in, I got a few in there, I got a few young ones in there that are brand new out of Canada, had some awesome ideas, you know, because they're having the same issue in Canada as we're having here. So we all spoke about all this and what we could do, and we came up with a game plan. So we wrote it all down, I presented it, got nowhere. So, and now I'm so busy that I don't have time to try to sit down and do all this on my own. We're trying to do this as a group. But I thought we had an awesome idea. We want to do, and y'all can tell me what you think. We want to do a crazy commercial. Because remember how, and I don't know if y'all know about this, but remember when, and I can't remember the guy's name, Lamar or whatever, the basketball player from whatever that college was, and I think it was Wisconsin, that went up to the captioner when at the game,
Yeah. Oh,
and remember, y'all remember that? Okay, went up to the captioner at the game, and he's like, oh my God, this is the lady taking all this down. And he was saying like, all these crazy words, supercalifragilistic, you know, those kind of things, and she was writing them, and they were coming up, you know, and he was freaking out. He goes, oh my God, this is so cool. And so he made a big deal about it. So it became like, all of a sudden, that was the cool thing to do. Well, that school signed up 5 people the next week. So we were thinking, okay, and those people from that school were at the seminar, so we were talking about these things, and we were like, we need to force some stuff to go viral. Instead of just letting it happen like that, we need to make it happen. So we started coming up with some ideas of things we could do, and one of our ideas was to do this giant commercial, and maybe have producers, all these young kids out there, these colleges that are taking all these classes, have them have some kind of like competition where we give a cash prize, and they come up with a commercial for us. And our idea was, we get everyone involved nationwide, and we have them vote on the most glamorous female court reporter and the most handsome guy court reporter. And they star in the commercial. And we all vote. We pick who we want. We all vote. And they're in the back of a limo. There's a red carpet. They're getting out for an event, right? It could be Academy Awards, basketball game, whatever. Nobody knows. They're just getting out and they're going down a red carpet. And everybody's going, who are these people? Who are these people? And they're walking in. And they walk in and they get up on a stage and they're out front, right? And there's their steno machines, and they sit down behind their steno machines, and they're decked out to the nines. And then they get up on stage, and whoever is emceeing announces who they are. They'll be providing the captioning for our event, and it's whatever. So we thought that would be a really great way to let people know what we do. But nothing's happened. Because I'm one person, and I can't do it all. And I can't get people to help get this moving. Yes, ma'am.
When I was in court reporting school, the school used to send out some of the students in the higher classes.
Yep.
And we would go to the high schools and different colleges.
We're doing that.
Days, and we would demonstrate and have a booth set up.
This is the time of year when that happens, actually, September, October. And we have already gone to probably 40 schools.
Wow.
I don't know if y'all probably don't even realize, because there's an underground group of court reporters, especially in the Houston, San Antonio area, that are going out to all of these high schools, junior colleges, some technical schools, and they're going out and doing exactly what you said at their career days and trying to let people know what we do.
Well, I was a member of the National Association for years and years, but they never did promote anything. They did promote qualifications.
Yes.
And
exactly.
And I took advantage of that. But they didn't get any new members, not really.
Yeah, because I presented this to them, and I said, you know, and the great thing was the people from Canada, they were awesome. They're like, you know, they're young, they know all this stuff, you know. They're like, oh, we can do this on Twitter, we can do that on Twitter, we can have a competition, we can do this, this, and this, and it won't cost us anything. All it'll cost us is a cash prize. And we can pick the 3 top best commercials. Then we can see if we can get somebody, you know, we all know people, right? All of us know people that know people, and we can get somebody to put these on TV and let people know what we're doing. You know, because I tried radio advertising, that doesn't work. TV advertising is too expensive for one school to do. It's just too expensive. So there's a lot of things that could be done, but we need people to help get them done.
Well, like job fairs.
Yeah, we do job fairs.
But real quick, so
Yeah.
do you think it could be other factors also, not just?
I think part of it is the length of time it takes. Like most schools are set up for 2 years. Almost all schools are set up. I'm actually set up for 3 years, and I did that for a reason because it almost takes everybody 3 years to get done, right? So I wanted to take that stress off of the students.
Right.
And I tell them right up front, this says 3 years. That doesn't mean it'll take you that long. You can be done sooner. It could take you longer. But I wanted to take the stress away from you of, oh my God, I have to finish this in 2 years, and give you 3 years to get it done so that you're not so stressed out.
It's also, yeah. But,
You know?
but do you think it's the cost, because I know the cost, not yours in particular, but I know the cost has increased dramatically since I went to school, which was almost 30 years ago.
Right.
But
It has.
that and the fact that, well, you know, like you said, the lack of education about the profession, but that and the fact.
And I agree with you.
The tests that just seem to have gotten so hard.
Yeah, the tests have gotten hard, but you know what? The tests have to be hard, and I'm gonna tell you why they have to be hard. Because people speak so much faster today. I don't know if y'all have noticed that. They speak so much faster today than they did 5 years ago. I get so frustrated. I don't know if y'all have had the same problem. I get to my job and I'm like, dude, you're going 500 words a minute. I'm certified at 225. I can write 350, but I can't write 500 for an hour. I can't do it. You're going to have to slow down. And they're talking so fast, and especially the newer ones coming up, especially the women. I just want to go, stop it. You know,
but the thing is that people are, you know, it's going to weed out. There was already a 98% attrition rate when I went to school.
That's very true.
98% dropped out that even signed up. So
and she's saying there is a 98% attrition rate. She's probably right.
And the harder it gets, the less are going to even finish, let alone sign up.
That's very true. And some schools don't test every night, you know, every day. You know, we pretty much test every day. I've gotten away from it a little bit in the last quarter because my students have not been practicing, so they're being punished. But so when they don't practice, they don't get a test. So, but normally, you know, we try to test every night so that we can, forge them ahead and keep going ahead, which I think it's great. We have so many reporters that are right now, especially with the Facebook thing and everything, they're doing a lot of live dictations for our students, which is great. It's very helpful because it motivates them, like the page by Brock, the encouraging court reporting students. I don't know how many of you know about that on Facebook, but there's an awesome page called Encouraging Court Reporting Students. And it's reporters are on that page with students from all over the place. They come on and ask questions. It can be any kind of question. There's no dumb question, right? There's just a question they don't know the answer to. And then we as reporters come on and answer those questions and try to tell them how to help them with maybe something that helped us get through school. Practicing, and you get people on there that are like on their last dime and they're freaked out because they've lost all their federal aid, financial aid. You know, and so they're like, okay, now what I'm going to do? I'm only in my 200s. I want to finish school. So, and then we all come up with ideas, you know, to try to help them get through it. So if you ever want to help somebody, that is a great page to go talk to people on. It's called Encouraging Court Reporting Students, and it's on Facebook. There's a couple of other ones, but there's a lot of people that are trying to do things to help students get through, but we're just not seeing them get out. So if all of you could grab a student and mentor them, that would be very helpful. Take them out with you, take them on jobs. I take students with me. I haven't lately, but normally I had a student with me. Like if I showed up on my own, my attorneys would go, "Where's your student?" I took so many students with me over the years since 2003, pretty much tied to me all the time, that they were like, "Oh my God, where's the student? You're alone. What are we gonna do?" Because they would ask my students to read back. I mean, they would just do stuff, they would to help, because like I said, these same attorneys I've seen for 22 years, So, if you can do that, that would be very helpful. All right. Let's see what else we got. Now, another thing it shows on NCRA in the guidelines. I don't know if y'all have seen this because I thought I was surprised by this. There's a code of professional ethics now for cart providers in a legal setting. There's one for cart providers in a non-legal setting. There's also one for providing uncertified rough transcripts. There's one for broadcast captioners. There's one for your backup media, your audio. All these new things. This is all NCRA. These are guidelines that we're all supposed to be following as court reporters through NCRA for everyone. Even if you're not a member, we're all supposed to be following these guidelines. And some of the stuff they talk about, your backup audio. Do any of you provide your backup audio to anyone?
No, we talked about this.
Have y'all had this? And this is the good question. I just want y'all to answer this for me. Have y'all had a firm ask you for your backup audio?
Yes.
Do you provide it?
No. No, unless it's subpoenaed.
And I'm talking about the court reporting firm. Have y'all had a court reporting firm ask you for your backup audio?
Oh,
sorry,
no.
I meant court reporting firm. Anybody have that? That was a question on Facebook that I pulled up one day because I don't know if y'all, there's a venture site on there where people can go on and vent about their jobs. I don't know if y'all have seen that. It's kind of fun. I like to just go on and see what's happening to other people. So it makes me feel better about what I've had happen to me. Right? So you might want to go check it out. It's pretty fun. The comments on there are crazy sometimes. There was a firm, not a Texas firm, there was a firm that was asking the reporters to turn over their audio. We talked about this when I did my seminar in San Antonio a couple weeks ago. And this was an interesting topic. Everybody had different viewpoints on this. But a firm owner stepped up and said that they sometimes like to get the audio from the reporters because lately they've been getting some really crappy transcripts from their reporters. And they want to go back and have their proofer check them.
Wow.
So that's scary, right?
Firms got a lot
It's
of
probably true.
It's probably true, you're right.
It's probably true because we see a lot of jacked up transcripts in civil. Where people,
Because what? Say that
I
again?
said, it's probably true because in civil we see a lot of jacked up
A
transcripts.
lot of jacked up transcripts. You said in civil they see a lot of jacked up transcripts. A lot. And that's pretty sad. We're supposed to be professionals. You know, I was on a depot one time and I had an attorney come up to me and goes, Pam, I have to show you this transcript. And I'm thinking, I'm like, what is he going to show me? I'm like, okay. And he pulled up this transcript. It had steno in it, people. Steno. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So I looked at it and I found out who it was. I knew the person.
Was it a rough
No, it was a final transcript. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I called them and because I knew who it was. And I said, I just want you to know that I saw one of your transcripts today, and I think you should be aware that you put out a final transcript with steno in it. And your firm didn't catch it, obviously. You didn't catch it, obviously. I don't know what's happening, if this is norm, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention before you get something filed on you, the CRCB. I said, because the attorney was highly upset about it. And I just want to bring it to your attention. I was trying to be nice about it, but I'm thinking, in my head, I'm thinking, this is jacked up. You know, we're all out here busting our rear to keep our jobs, and then you got somebody like this who's turning out that kind of product. You know, and we're fighting ER, and we have people putting out this. You know, so.
We had one last week. I sent it to them. And they played it in court, and a whole page was like, check the tape, check the tape, check the tape.
Oh my God. Somebody didn't proofread their job. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing, you know, we want to be careful of, making sure that we put out quality products, right? Because, I mean, we're fighting against electronic, right?
I don't think that's the focus anymore. Everything now is just real time. That's the focus. What people really care about is that final product.
Yes.
You can write it with your toes.
Right.
But if that transcript does not look good,
right,
that's all anybody cares.
Right. They want that final transcript to look good.
And I don't know that, I didn't realize as a freelance reporter until I started subbing in court, the number of depositions that are played in court before the jury, or they blow up this page like, you know, this gigantic poster, and so there's your mistake for the whole world to see.
The whole world to see, right?
And I sat in court one time, and they were playing all these civil depositions, and they had the audio synced with the video, and playing it, and I'm like seeing all these mistakes that these other reporters have made. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they really do read this stuff, and they really do blow it up giant for other people to see.
Well, and you know, I went to, Mike Miller was also speaking at NCRA, and he was talking about the quality of transcripts in real time. He was talking about the same thing, how it's like people have gotten away from the quality. I know that there's an issue. I have a problem with my students because they want to write perfect. And I'm like, nobody's perfect. I don't write perfect. I've been writing 22 years. I'm not perfect. I do the best I can. And like Anita said, I make notes to myself all over the transcript. I even write the word screen because my attorneys are used to it, because if they're all over each other and I've asked them 4 times to stop it, I get ticked. And so I usually write screen in big bold letters. I have a stroke, screen, and it comes out across the top of my screen. And it says screen. It absolutely says screen in big bold letters. They know that I'm getting ticked off because I've asked them to slow down or stop talking over each other, and it says scream. And I have never had anybody say anything. I have to make sure I take it out when I'm done, but I go through and write scream, and it also keeps me from writing notes to my scopus. You know, like, this guy's such a jerk, you know, or whatever, you know, because I used to do that, and then invariably I'd get asked for a rough draft at the end, and I'd have to go remove all that. So now I just don't do it. I just write scream. And I also write oopsie. I know it's just, if I mess it up, I go, oopsie, that was this. You know, it's just habit. I don't even think about it. I just write it. And so they're used to seeing my little notes on the transcript, like, oh, that was supposed to be this, or, you know, because we're hearing it for the first time, and you may have thought you heard this, and then you go back and you're like, that's not what they said. A little bit later, you realize, oh, they said this word. That wasn't this. And so you have to write notes so they know that you know what you know that you messed it up, you know. So they're not really, and you were asking me if I was going to talk about real time, so we'll talk a little bit about that. You know, I do a lot of real time. I am so not perfect. I am a perfectionist type personality. That was the hardest thing in the world for me, is to write real time and not freak out every time something wrong comes across the screen. I cringe a little bit every time that happens. But you know what? None of us are perfect. I have walked into so many jobs this last year where I had absolutely no information, and I do a ton of patent litigation. I walked in, and all I had was the taking attorney's name. That was it. That's all I had. And so I'm like, if I have information, I research before I walk in, right? And I'll say, okay, it's this company versus this company. I'll go look up the companies. I'll even search Google Scholar. If you go type in googlescholar.com, you can pull up the cases, and sometimes you can find information on there. Sometimes regular Google, but sometimes if I can't find it there, I'll do googlescholar.com, and I can go type in the name of the case, and it'll bring up information about what it is. Sometimes it even lists the patents, tells you the patent numbers, and I'll go through and put all that information in my dictionary. I'll pull up all the names associated with the company, put those in my dictionary. But sometimes I'll walk in and I absolutely have nothing. So my first words out of my mouth, especially in a real-time deposition or something where they've told me they want a rough draft at the end, my first thing, I wait till everybody's in the room and I say, now, gentlemen and ladies, I just want to tell you, this is real time. I'm going to do the best I can. But when I walked in here, I had one piece of information. If there's stuff that's going to keep coming up over and over, would you please tell me now so I can put it in my dictionary? Otherwise, trash in, trash out. I had no information. So therefore, I don't have a dictionary except for standard words. So if there's going to be a bunch of names coming up, a bunch of little bitty intricate parts for this patent, whatever, I don't have it. So you're not going to be able to read it on the screen. It's probably going to come out in steno. So if it's going to come up over and over, please tell me now so I can put it in my dictionary. And I won't start until they give me the stuff I need. I'll make sure I have everybody's name in my dictionary before we go on the record. And if they have to wait, they have to wait. And I put it all in, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the best I can. And every break, I ask for spellings. I'll reach up and write things down or put a star or whatever. I go through it every break and ask, you know, how do you spell this? What about this? I'll look at the documents, I'll put them in at every break, and so every hour, it gets a little better, a little better, a little better. So at the end, when they want a rough draft, the only horrible part's probably going to be the first hour, right? Because I've been adding things in since the first hour, so that first hour is probably not very good. And then after that, it's going to be much better. That's always my roughest part, is the first hour is always the roughest. But half the time they're not looking at it. I had a client the other day that asked for real time. It was their first time to use real time. Never even looked at my screen. Not one time all day long. So, you know, if you're worried about doing real time, don't be. You know, they really don't care. You know, you think, oh my God, it's got to be perfect. They really don't care. They really want to be able to look up and read back a question or an answer. Especially, I find that people who tend to use real time, the ADD attorneys, the ones who are like all over the place and can't form a question, those are the ones that are usually using it because they know they can't form a question and they have to go back and read like, oh, did I say that? You know, and they go back and they need to read it because they don't remember what they said 2 seconds later. So they go back and read it from the screen. So those are the people who typically end up using it. And so don't be afraid to do it. It's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. Now, you know, every once in a while, I had one attorney who I had last week, he kept pointing out my mistakes. And I kept, like she said, read down, because I'd go, what's this? Because they were talking about all these technical terms that I didn't have. And he was saying this one word, and I couldn't figure out what he was saying. I can't remember right now what it was. And it didn't make any sense to me, but I wrote what I thought I heard. And later I was like, oh, he's talking about this. It was an acronym. I was like, oh, and so I wrote, oh, you're talking about this, and I wrote it in. And then later on, he's like, oh, I caught that. I caught that you caught that. So, you know, those kind of things, sometimes they'll catch it, you know, and they'll go, oh, good catch. You know, and I had one the other day where they kept saying, I can't remember, I wish I could remember what it was, because they said a word and it could have gone either way on the word, and I had no idea what they were talking about. And I said, do you mean this or do you mean that? And they go, oh my God, good catch, I never thought about that. I'm like, well, yeah, it could have gone either way on that one. I don't remember what the word was, but in the context of what they were talking about, it could have been either thing. Oh, ceiling. It was ceiling they were talking about, it could have been the ceiling because it was a construction case, but they were talking about the ceiling of something. But whatever the sentence was, it could have been either thing. You know, so they're like, good catch, you know. So, you know, they'll catch those kind of things, you know. Just don't be nervous about doing it. It's not a big deal.
Well, sometimes it is, because in court, in my county, in my county, you have judges that want a rough draft at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Medical males.
Yeah.
And you got some judges that they will look at the transcript, a couple of them, and they look at the daily, the real time.
Yeah.
If it's not good, you can't come back.
Wow, really?
You just can't come back, no. I've gone and taken.
Wow. I mean, nobody's
hearings
perfect.
For people, I know. I've taken hearings for people where the judge sent the court reporter home at lunch.
Wow.
And had me come down because I work in that same type of court. So my dictionary's better.
Yeah.
Than the sub.
I mean, they got to understand. Somebody's got to make this.
But I think what it is the way it's being sold. Real time is being sold. They think it's a real thing.
Yeah.
They really think that.
Well, and I can tell you this. You know, I have gone in, some of the big box firms that I worked for before, they would have me come in and explain to the salespeople, and I used to get onto them because they go out and be talking about how perfect we are and da-da-da-da, and I'm like, we are not perfect. You need to go out and selling it as an enhancement to help them. It is not the be-all, end-all in transcript.
Yeah, but that's not what's happening. That's not what's occurring.
Yeah,
I know.
People
are getting a really, really, really different view of what it is.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
In the criminal building in Crowley, the judges are awful.
Really?
They're all new since January, and they're like,
they think
there's
it's
one of
perfect.
them that she told her reporter, wait a minute, she missed a word.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She does this to her all the time. And I
That's
said,
insane.
you have to educate.
Yes, we must educate. You
They're
know,
all one real time, or you can't sub.
and it would be really awesome if some of you guys did a seminar for your judges.
I don't write it, so.
You know?
I don't write
You
it.
cannot be brain injured and work in the court. You
Yeah.
have to pay attention like I have to pay attention.
Yeah.
So.
It'd be really great if we could take out, you know, I know that we, a lot of reporters all those, I know, I'm trying to think of the name, the big judicial convention that goes on.
Judicial conference.
Yeah, the judicial conference. I know that there was a group of reporters from TCRA that just went to that and were trying to educate. I think the problem is we need to really educate those judges and attorneys more, and also educate these salespeople that don't know anything about court reporting, that are going out there and selling real time, that don't know what they're talking about. I get so annoyed. I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And what I do when I go to do sales meetings, I'll go up and say, tell me how you sell real time. I want to hear it. Go ahead and give me your pitch. And I'll have each of them give me their pitch, and it's nowhere near what I would tell people about real time. And I'm like, okay, this isn't cutting it. You know, so it's a lot about us as court reporters educating these people to be able to sell on our behalf, especially for freelancers. For you guys, it's selling it to your judges and attorneys that you work with.
Yeah, I don't sell it. Y'all need to pay attention.
I don't write it.
Y'all don't sell it.
I don't write it.
You don't write it.
A toxic talk for 2 months where they're talking about dibenzofurans and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons and benzoyl. That's not going to come up. I don't care how many dictionaries I build. It's not going to come up.
Yeah.
No, I don't sell it either. My judge wants it, but I haven't done it.
Do you write it for your judge?
I wrote it one time.
Yeah.
Does your judge want it?
It's all about coming up.
But I'm not doing it.
And it's all about coming up with briefs. And it's all about what I'm sure Anita talked about too. It's all about coming up with briefs. I mean, if I know if I have a job like that where I have all these big long things, I'll have them tell me all that ahead of time. You know, before we go on, I'll say, tell me, what is this about? That's one of my first questions. Sometimes I get annoyed. I'm like, I don't care if you're annoyed. I want to know what this case is about, so I have some semblance in my head of what's going to be going on. And that way I'm mentally prepared for what's going on, because, like I said, a lot of times we don't get notices, so we don't really know what's happening, right? So I'll ask them what is it about, and give me some of the big words that are going to come up, and I'll write them down, and then I quickly come up with a one-stroke brief for whatever that is. I don't know if y'all have time to do that.
No,
with what y'all do.
Have something like that.
No.
Yeah. 2 months, they want daily copy. And that morning said we want daily copy.
Oh my God.
And they tell you that morning?
That morning.
I would have said no. Do y'all use teams of people?
No.
Because
I use teams. We do same day copy.
Yeah.
But they're gonna pay for it.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah.
They don't go over the
Heck yeah, they gotta pay. They don't get nothing for free.
Kansas to get proofread, but yeah, I can do it, but.
I had an attorney walk in another day, and usually when I get asked to do real time, I will take extra computers with me, and I take my own stuff. I don't usually use theirs unless they are demanding, but I take my own. I save all my backup computers. Every 2 years I get a new computer. I save them all, and I use those computers, clean them out. That's what I use for real time. So I take them with me, set them up. I have 5, and if I know there's 4 attorneys, I take 4, and I go on and set them all up. I don't know if they're going to use them. I have a little card that says, "This is real time. It is not free. It costs you. If you don't want to use it, shut the lid. Otherwise, you're going to be charged." And so,
you charge?
Heck yeah, you charge for real time. Yeah.
See, in court, we can't charge, so
Why? You can't charge real time?
No.
Heck no, I wouldn't do it.
Hello?
Yeah, if you're doing it daily,
Daily copy, yes.
Yeah, daily copy, okay.
But not when you're in criminal court, we
No,
can't charge.
can't charge anything. Criminal is all paupers.
That is so, that's crazy.
We barely get paid.
Well, no wonder you don't provide it. If you're not gonna pay for it, I wouldn't provide it either.
No.
Yeah, I make them shut the lid if they don't want it, and then if they argue about it, I make notes on the back of my sheet that says, this person is RT for real time, or NO real time, so that I know who's using it, who shut the lid. And sometimes they'll go half the day and use it, and then they'll go, "Oh, is this costing me?" Yep.
Get billed for half the cost.
I'll bill them for that for the first half up to that point. I'll make a note on my sheet. They use real time till this point. And what if they call you and ask for a real time reporter? Now this is a good question. I want to see what y'all's answer would be to this. Let's say the law firm calls your reporting agency and asks for real time, and they send a real time reporter. And you get there and they decide they don't want real time. Do you charge for it or do you not charge for it? What do you do? Yes. Why? I'm charging for it because they pulled you off. I could have had another real-time job. My firm usually has a lot of real-time jobs. They pulled me off of something else to put me on that real-time job. Actually, in this situation, they pulled me off of an 0 and 5 that was going to go all day because they needed a real-timer for this job. There was an 0 and 2 real-time. I get there, they don't want real-time. I made a fraction of what I would have made on my 0 and 4 that was going to go all day on this job. So heck yeah, I'm charging real time. Why not? They ask for real time, and some attorneys don't understand what real time is. They think if they ask for real time, they're going to get the best reporter. Do y'all realize that? Oh, that's their thought process. They think if they ask for a real time writer, they're going to get the best reporter at the firm. They don't understand the difference. They don't understand that doesn't really mean anything. They don't understand it. So, when that happens to me, every time that happens, and I go on a job and they say, oh, well, I don't need the real time. I go, well, you realize you're paying for it. You might as well use it. I'm going to leave it set up. And they're like, I have to pay for it? Yep, you ordered it, you're going to pay for it because you pulled me off of another job because you asked for real time. So if you don't want this screen in front of you from now on, do not ask for a real-time reporter because you will be charged every time I come out here for that. And then they get the hint. They're like, oh, I just need to say I need a good reporter. I'm like, yeah, you want to just, we're all good, you just tell them you want a seasoned reporter. And I think the problem is sometimes they get these young reporters and that are interrupting them a lot. And so I said, just tell them you want a seasoned reporter. I said, better than that, just ask for me and just don't say you want real time. And if I'm not on a real time job, I'm happy to take it. But, don't ask for real time when you're not actually going to use it because I'm going to charge you for it. And then they finally start getting the hint. It's all about education. We must educate these people so that they know what to ask for. It's all about education. And who's going to have to educate them? We are. Our firms are not educating them. We have to be the ones to do that, people out in the field. I feel like I'm doing that every day. I have new attorneys. I actually work with a lot of the law firms in my area, and when they do mock trials for their new attorneys or their law clerks, a lot of them bring in law clerks during the summer, and I will go out and do mocks with them. And what happens is the attorneys will tell them what they did wrong in their little mocks. Then they'll bring me over and go, now tell them what they did wrong from your standpoint. And I'm like, well, you said the word okay every 5 seconds through that entire answer of the witness. Or you're doing this, and I can't understand the word you're saying. Or and I'll go through everything. I make notes. And I even have, and I'll take my students write it, and they produce it, just like they're on a depo. And then, but I give I let my students comment, and they're new, so they don't really know what to tell them. And then I give my list of comments, and they're long. You need to stop doing this, and you need to do this. And so, if you can get that, and you can help and do that at law firms, that's an awesome thing to do. And I've tried to get them to do courses at some of the law schools about these kinds of things. I know that Kim Tyndall does a lot of that. She has a program called Real Time 101, and she goes out to a lot of the big law firms and presents because they get CE credits for that, for their law degrees. They have to have all that stuff too, just like we do. So she goes out and presents those, and it's helpful because it lets them know, because sometimes I'll walk in and I know immediately they've taken a class because they're so good. I'm like, and I'll praise them, man, praise them. Thank you so much. I had an attorney the other day, I love her. She's from here, actually, Holly Engelman. If any of you have worked with her, I love her. She's awesome. They kept talking over each other. She'd go, No, the court reporter must be able to, and she was every time. I was like, thank you. She would, and then she'd go, you need to spell that for her. I was like, oh, you are awesome. I need you every day, please. Because I was like, who trained you? We need you out there talking to these attorneys. Because she was awesome. She would stop them, and that's what we need. We need people to train these attorneys to do that kind of thing and to spell for you when they say something crazy and you don't know how it's spelled. So anyway, so I don't know how we got from that tangent, but okay. So, so backup media. Do y'all give out your backup audio to an attorney who asks you for it?
No.
Good answer. What do you tell them?
They can buy it.
No,
Say
I
it
don't
again?
know.
They can buy it.
I just say no. Or I say, sometimes I'll just say, I don't have a backup.
Yes.
Yeah,
some people don't. Some people actually don't use backups.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
I just tell them if you want it, you need to subpoena it.
Yeah. I don't even give them that.
And there is
option.
case law. There is case law on that. Now, here's another question for you. I want to see if this has happened to any of you. Have you had a deposition, or maybe, and I don't think they can do this in court, I think it's against the rules, but in depositions they can do this. They walk in and they've got their computer and they're videotaping the whole thing with their computer. Any of y'all had that happen?
They can't use it in court.
They can't use it.
They don't know that, a lot of them don't.
Yeah, a lot of them don't know that, but they do that, and then what, they don't order a copy, and they get their secretary to transcribe it. Any of y'all run into that? I was in a depot, and I just, and there's two sides to this, and I see both sides, but I happened to, we took a break, and I'm going to the restroom. The guy came in late, first of all. So he sat at the end of the table, and this was not a video depot, it was just a normal depot. And I wasn't thinking anything of it. He set his computer out. Everybody sets their computer out, right? And I'm walking past to go to the restroom, and it's video, and it's getting the entire room. I'm one of those reporters who, when I write and I'm stressed, and they're talking like a bat out of hell, I close my eyes. That's my focus. I'm seeing the words go past, right? And that's my focus. Some people think you're going to sleep when you do that, and they get upset with it. I don't care. That's my focus. That's what I do. And so I don't want people videotaping me thinking I'm not paying attention. So he's videotaping the whole proceedings, but he's got everybody in the picture. He didn't have my permission to videotape, right? So when we walked back in, I said, just before we go back on the record, are you videotaping this whole proceeding? And he was like, yes, I am. I do this to everything. And I said, well, you did not have my permission to videotape me, and I'd appreciate it if you want to do that. There's nothing we can do to stop them, right? But, do the witness, not me.
Don't they have to give everyone notice if
They're supposed to. They're supposed to, but they don't. I've only had that happen a handful of times. Now, I have seen people turn on their phone, and you don't even know this, they're recording it. And so there's two sides to that. Do any of y'all ever ask them to shut it off?
Yes, but
They
don't.
You've asked them to shut it off? Yeah.
Shut off their audio? You mean when they're recording on their phone?
Yeah. I just let them do it. I'm going to do my transcript the best I can do my transcript.
Sure.
And I'm just like, whatever. But some people, I used to get upset about it. I'm like, right now I got to treat this like a video transcript. But I kind of do that anyway to all mine.
Yeah.
I try to put every single thing in there. But you get where sometimes y'all can't do that in court, right?
No,
they're not allowed.
The bailiffs take their phone.
The bailiffs. Oh, okay.
Doing this.
Awesome.
Yeah. There's a sign that says no phones, no audio record, no nothing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, in depots, I don't take up people's phone. They're, but I'm not going to do that. But, I don't like it when they're actually getting me in the picture, especially if they're not telling me and they're recording. But, I just try to treat everything like it was a video anyway. So, and I had talked to a firm owner in San Antonio when we were doing this, and he's like, I just let them do it because it's better than ER, because if they're sitting there and they're trying to get it and they want their secretary to transcribe it because they're not ordering a copy, she can't transcribe it. You got 5 people talking at one time. She's not there. He said, so my transcript is going to be so good and this is going to be such crap. They're going to end up buying your transcript anyway. So that's another way to look at it.
Plus all the time she spends doing it.
Exactly, all the time she spent doing it. And what did you say back there? I missed you.
I know in a lot of cases, though, I run into, they bring their own video camera. And then you have to send them the original for signature. So then they've got their little video that they made on their own. The other side requested me to come because they wanted a record of it. And then they get the original set for signature, run their own copy, and they've got the video, and so they're all happy.
Right. You know, technically in those situations, what she's saying is that, I don't know if all of you can hear that, but what she's saying is that, so you were hired by the opposing side, right?
Well, say the client orders, his witness is gonna be deposed.
The client's witness is gonna be deposed, and they have, they're videotaping.
Right.
Okay?
And, they don't care if there's a transcript or not.
They don't care if there's a transcript, so the other side hires the reporter to do the transcript.
Get a written transcript.
Right.
And
Technically, you aren't the record. You aren't the official record in that situation. The video is the official record.
That's right.
So, you know, and I've had that happen too.
Cross notice.
Yeah. Yes, it has to be cross noticed, yes.
Wait, so what you said, the
And
video is
The
the
video,
official record?
the video in that situation, because you were hired by the opposing counsel, in that situation, the video is the official record. So here's another thing, and I've had this happen too. Why should I swear them in?
Right,
I'm not the official record.
that's
It's
right.
their problem. They need to have somebody to swear them in. If they want me to swear them in, they're gonna pay me. You know, I'm not there for them. I'm there for the other side. So they're the official record. They need to have a notary present swearing the witness, right?
I had the exact same thing come up, well, several times, but the most recent time, the guy set up his little thing because he thought he was going to be able to use in court. And same deal, I said, I'm not going to swear them in because this isn't, you know, I'm not the record. I was just there because our attorney had hired us to have a written record.
It becomes the other party. It's their work product.
And the exhibits, we don't get the exhibits because we're not the transcript.
That's true. That's
So
true.
he had to mark his own exhibits, keep the exhibits.
Yeah.
And then later, I talked to my attorney. He said, you know, he can't even use that in court, and he quoted the rule.
Yeah.
He said because they have to hire a videographer to be able to present that.
To be able to present.
They
Yeah.
can't just record it themselves.
Can't just record it themselves. Yeah, they have to hire a videographer to do it. And it needs to be cross-noticed for us to be an official. If it's cross-noticed, then I'll swear them in and do my thing. But if it's not cross-noticed and you were just hired, it becomes their work product. It's not even the official record.
Right.
So, and I was getting that there for a while. I don't know if y'all had a lot of that. I was getting, probably 2 years ago, I was getting quite a few of those and it was getting annoying. But I haven't had any of those probably in at least a year and a half. So I think they got the message that they can't use it in court, and so it's not such a prevalent thing anymore. I still, every once in a while, get people that bring their own video camera and set it up, but they're not, you know, they didn't notice the deposition.
Right.
So I don't really pay much attention to that. But anybody else got anything like that going on? Anything? Okay. So now let's talk about Texas a little bit. We talked about national. And I don't know if y'all, I'm assuming all of you know that we don't have the CRCB anymore, right? Everybody know that? Now it's the JBCC. It's been merged in with interpreters and other people that have licenses like ours, right? So I just went to the website because I haven't been on there in a while. It's changed a lot. Have y'all been on it lately? It's hard to maneuver, isn't it? It's difficult to maneuver the site. I'm starting to get a little used to it. It looks very different than the old site. The JBCC, Judicial Branch Certification Commission.
Now, is that where we have to file this seminar?
Yes. This is where you file the seminar. This is where you do your licensing. Everything is the JBCC. Yeah, JBCC is the new licensing board. Everything is done through them. Now, they have added some new stuff on here. They kind of adopted the stuff from NCRA. If you go look at it, I was kind of surprised because last year this stuff was not on their site. So this year I was like, okay, before I do my seminars, I want to go see if they've changed anything, what they've added, what they've subtracted, that kind of thing. And they have kind of adopted a lot of the NCRA stuff. The one big difference that I talked about earlier is the gift giving. NCRA is 125, but Texas is 100. So you have to watch the gift giving thing. They also have, they talk about the licensing and registration. You know, we've added that as part of that 1/3 rule situation, we have where the firms have to be licensed. Everybody knows the firms have to be licensed now, right? They've got stuff about professional judgment, honesty, integrity, and fair dealing, all basically the same stuff as the NCRA that we discussed earlier. Talking about delivery, your transcripts must be in a timely manner as determined by a statute, court order, or agreement, kind of pretty much the same stuff, right? I have a question for y'all. How do you handle this? Let's say you're taking attorney orders an expedite. Opposing counsel doesn't want expedite. Do you deliver them at the same time, or do you hold on to the one who didn't order expedite? What do y'all do?
I've got it prepared, I deliver to everything.
Prepared and not delivered?
No, if I have it ready for one, and even if they didn't order it, I deliver it to them.
You go on and deliver it, and you go on and deliver it? Why are you doing that?
To be fair.
Impartiality.
But why?
I don't want to show any partiality towards.
Okay, and here's my question to you. We have a like services rule, right? So if they're not paying rush 2, why are you giving it to them on a rush basis without having them pay for it?
That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you're giving it to them early and they're not having to pay for it. So, you know, we had a discussion about this at some of the firms I work for, because that's not showing partiality to one side or the other. That's business.
Yeah, you pay for this.
And if you want it, you're going to pay for it. Why give it away for free? That's just like giving away real time for free. What crazy person's going to give away real time? There are people doing that. Do not do that.
Officials.
Do not do that. What I do, this is the only time I give away real time, or tell people to give away real time. If you are terrified of real time, absolutely terrified of it, pick your best client, somebody that you feel completely comfortable with, and you take 2 computers with you, and you give that attorney and the opposing counsel free real time. Maybe just a couple of times until you feel comfortable with somebody looking at your screen. And then that's it. And you tell them, this is a one-time deal. You're getting free real time today because I need to practice on somebody. And I feel comfortable with you that you're not going to look at my screen and point out all my errors. And so I want to practice on you, and you're going to get free real time today. And that is the only time you should be giving away free real time. After that, they should be having to pay for that. Yeah, because you're preparing for that. That's not something that you walk in. I don't walk in and just do real time. I prepare for that. I mean, granted, there are times when I walk in and I don't have information, and I have to kind of like go with the flow, and they're paying me for that, but that's their fault, because I've been asking for however long I knew about this real-time job for information that they didn't get to me, so that's their problem. Trash in, trash out. Right? That's my favorite saying. And sometimes I write that in the record. Trash in, trash out. And I let them know at the very beginning. That's one of my, when I start off a job, I'll put, this is the deposition of so-and-so, this is Monday, August 22nd, whatever, and this is the witness is so-and-so, and then I usually do my colloquy so I know who the attorneys are there, so that my scopus can see who's all there. I write all that in and I put trash in, trash out. You know, so they know, I mean, they see it right there on the screen, right? It's there, you know, so I'm you know, whatever makes it better for me. Now, I have a question about this. What happens if one party says, let's go off the record, and the other party says, no, I don't want to go off the record? Do we go off?
No.
No, we do not go off. Everyone must agree to go off the record. Now, what about going on the record?
Only one person has to.
Exactly. She said only one person has to ask to go on the record. Anybody can ask you to go on the record. Even it doesn't have to be an attorney. A party can ask you to go on the record. And you know what? It says that in our JVCC rules. It's there. It says, a CSR shall go on the record during a deposition, not court, during a deposition at the request of any party or the party's attorney.
Wow. I did not know that.
It actually, that was not there last year. They just added this. This was added. So yeah, because I keep tabs on this stuff so I can know what to talk about. So yeah, and that's specific. It also says A CSR shall not go off the record during a deposition, not court, deposition, when not agreed to by all parties or their attorneys unless otherwise ordered by the court. Okay? Then, now, and this is the gift giving thing. A CSR or CRF, certified reporting firm, it shall not engage in a pattern of receiving or benefiting from, or be, this is so confusing, or being employed as a result of, or giving directly or indirectly any incentive, reward, or anything of value to attorneys, clients, witnesses, insurance companies, they added that in, insurance companies, or any other persons or entities associated with the litigation, or to the representatives or agents of any of the foregoing, except for nominal items that do not exceed $100 in the aggregate per recipient per year. So they've actually added that verbiage on the website, on the JBCC. Just so you know that's in there. They talk about behavior. That's a new one. Who knew we have behavior rules to follow? So that's a new one. We shall treat lawyers and members of the judiciary with respect. Like they need to tell us that, right? We shall conduct ourselves in a legal proceeding in a professional manner and demonstrate respect for the court and the law. Like any of us would disrespect, we'd lose a client, right? We shall not engage in any conduct that offends the dignity and decorum of a legal proceeding. I don't know exactly what that's all about, but apparently they felt it was necessary to be in there, right? We shall preserve our shorthand notes in accordance with statute or court order for a period of 3 years for oral depositions in civil cases. The required retention period stated by statute or court order shall prevail over this rule. Preservation shall be through storage of the original paper notes, or they finally added electronic copy of either the shorthand notes or the English transcript of the notes on computer discs, cassettes, backup tapes, optical, laser discs, or any other reliable storage media.
So it's 3 years?
It says 3 years for oral depositions in civil cases.
Does it say criminal?
So it doesn't say anything about criminal on here, which is kind of surprising.
Still 15 years?
Still 15, yeah. They didn't, there's nothing on here that says anything about that. So,
by statute.
same, yeah, by statute, it says by statute, yeah. They talk about competency. And what do y'all think they mean by that?
The reporter's competent or what?
Yeah, the reporter's, the reporter's competency. Basically is what we talked about earlier. If you get to a job and you feel like you can't handle it, you need to call your firm and get somebody else that can. If you go to the bathroom in the first hour and you're bawling your eyes out because it's just horrible, you need to call your firm and say, I need somebody to come take over because I can't handle this testimony. It's too fast for me, or it's too hard a testimony. Whatever the situation is, you need to be professional and you need to get somebody there to handle it, right? So make sure that you're competent and you can handle it, and that you're using the uniform format manual. Are all of you using the uniform format manual?
No.
No, and why not?
I looked online to see what people were doing, so I'm not speaking for myself.
Yes. Yes, we must be using the uniform format manual. If anybody complains about your transcript, you could be fined and you could lose your license if you're not using the uniform format. I know people that have been reprimanded for that, not able to practice for a year, because they've done, not using the format manual. There are a lot of reporters in little bitty towns who don't even know this exists.
And large ones too.
Yeah.
Large ones too. Because we used to be able to look at other people's transcripts on the Thames portal.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised at how many people are not following that manual.
Yeah. They're doing blank lines and we're talking about people not following the format manual.
Large font.
margin, this big on each side, and there's like this much text.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm gonna say this again for those at home, I'm gonna say this again. You must be using the uniform format manual. If you get caught not using that uniform format manual, not only could you lose your license, you could be fined. You could go to jail. There's a lot of things that can happen to you for not. This is like, it's true, this is a rule. I mean, this is like, that's why this was put into place, because people were page gouging. And so that's why all this was put in place. 25 lines, the margins are an inch, everything, we can't leave blank lines, all those different things that we must be following. And we have to use a true type font. And it's got to be so many, 58 to 64 characters across from the box, which is 6.5 inches. I know all this because I have a school, right? So 6.5 inches from this line to this line on the box, and it's 58 to 62 characters in a true type font that has to go across. Believe me, I've counted those to make sure all my students are doing what they're supposed to be doing, because they're all on different software. So you have to make sure you're following those rules, because if an attorney if they complain against you and you're not following them, it's very evident in your transcripts, right?
Well,
So,
yeah, and I've seen it where some people will skip lines, and it was like if they're setting up a witness and it's going to be on the next page, they'll put like a little pin that says this line intentionally left blank.
That's fine. Yeah, and you can do that. You can actually do that. Say this, and I don't usually say this intentionally left blank, which that's a really good thing to say. I usually just put stars there, as long as there's something on that line.
You're good. So that they know that I didn't intentionally leave line like started.
Right.
Like one line. And it's gonna
That's good. As long as you put something there that's showing that you're setting up your witness on the next page, so that, listen, so that there's not just blank lines there, you gotta put something there. It just can't be blank. That's what it says in the uniform format, no blank. You can have stars, I think that's good what you said about this intentionally left blank, that's perfect. Put something there so that it shows that the setup for the witness is on the next page.
All stars across? You put like.
No, I just put like 3 stars, three on each line that's blank. Now, also talks about duty to notify. Now, what does that mean, duty to notify? Okay, if you are at a deposition, I'm a freelancer, sorry, but let's say you're at a deposition and everybody's gone. You think everybody's gone. And suddenly one of the attorneys walks back in and says, hey, I need this by tomorrow. I need this job by tomorrow. Everybody's gone, right? You can't get hold of anybody. How many of you really have attorneys' cell phone numbers in your phone? I don't. I'm sure you don't either, right? So what are you going to do? I'm going to say, okay, as soon as I notify all parties, so what do you do to notify? I will typically, this is just me personally, I have everybody's email, right? So I will immediately, when I get home, send out an email saying that this attorney has requested this transcript by tomorrow morning. I wanted to find out if they also would like a rush on this transcript, that I'm going to give them my cell phone number. I would like them to either leave me a voicemail on my cell phone. I actually prefer that they actually do it on on an email so that I have it in writing. I'll say, would you please respond back to my email and let me know. But I will also leave a voice message on their company phone, their law firm's phone number. And I will call and say, I'll do both. Because I'll say, please let me know by 10 o'clock or whatever the next morning that you need this. Or same thing with the rough draft, because we have to let them know, right? If another party walks in and wants a rough draft, we got to let both sides know. So I will, sometimes they'll walk in and say, I want it right now. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do that because the other party's gone. I won't give them a rough draft, unless everybody's still there, I won't give them a rough draft same night. I'm like, I'm sorry, unless I can get hold of the other party. Do you have their cell phone number? If they do, I'll call them. I'll say, let's call them right now. And you know what usually happens? Oh, no, I don't want them to know that I'm getting this. Well, I'm sorry, but that's the rules. Because 9 times out of 10, they want to get it ahead. Sure. Okay. What time is it?
It's 5:05.
Seriously, we haven't gone to the game yet. So we want them to, we want to make sure that we notify everybody at the same time that they need something and make sure we don't show partiality, right? Okay. Let's see what else we got. Now this is the question I have for you. This is something that says in here under the section that says misconduct, okay? And it says, you know, we shall not engage in fraud or misrepresentation of our certifications. Like, we're really going to say we're court reporters and we don't have a license, right? Okay. So, no. But this one's kind of interesting. It says, a CSR shall not work for a CRF, certified reporting firm, that has been placed on inactive status or when the CRF's registration has been suspended or terminated. How do we know? Exactly. How do we know? Because unless you're spending every day looking at the website going, oh, is my firm suspended? Or has my firm been put on inactive? How do you know that? You don't know. I think that's kind of a little bit crazy right there. But it says that. So you need to be paying attention to make sure that, you know, and usually those licenses, they will come to the end of the year. So I try to, in December, go and look at the inactive status and see if anybody's off that. And the other thing I do when I work for somebody new that I don't know, because there's a lot of videographers out there now that are getting licensed because they want to do their own firms. Be careful. I always go on and make sure that they are licensed because some of them don't know what they're doing, right? They think, oh, I can just hire a court reporter. You can't do that. You got to be like, if you have more than 2 people under you working for you, you must have a license. That's the rule. So just throwing that out there. Conflicts of interest, same thing as NCRA. Exposed, corrupt, or dishonest conduct of another licensee. That's actually in here. They want us to tattle on our peers. So if you see any violation of the code, which can be supported in fact. So for example, you see that transcript that's all jacked up, that doesn't have the right margins and everything. They want you reporting it with a copy of that transcript. No? Yeah. They do, because that is dishonest conduct on the part of a licensee, right? So they want us to report that kind of stuff so they can stop it. We shall not without good cause attribute bad motives or unethical conduct of another reporter, nor bring the profession into disrepute by unfounded accusations of impropriety. They want to make sure that you have proof. So like a transcript, that's proof. No? We shall not file frivolous complaints with the commission. Like any of us really have time for that. But, you know, if you have a legitimate complaint, please file it. If you see somebody that keeps taking advantage and not using the uniform format manual, when we're all following the rules and not making as much on our pages because we are following the rules and they're shortening everything and making the extra money, you know, I think you would be wise to, I don't know that I'd turn them in. I would call them. If I knew them, I mean, and now I don't know if you realize, but most of your information should be on the JBC site. It should have your name. It needs an address and a phone number. If you don't have a current address and phone number on the site, you need to give them your information. You can do it online. You can update. You don't have to put your home address. You can put your business address or a P.O. box, but you need to give them your info so that it's public knowledge. I don't give them my home address. I give them a P.O. box. So, but you need to go on and update your information so that they have it and keep it updated. That's also in here that if you move or you switch courts or anything like that, you must notify the JBCC within 30 days of any changes. Must notify. It talks about that under contact information and your supervisory response. We have supervisory responsibilities. Did y'all know that? That's new too. We're supervisors of our scopists and our proofreaders. So we have to make sure they're following the rules. They're not talking about our cases. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah, we're the licensed party, and they're working for us, so we have to make sure we supervise them. So that's kind of something new they added. We have to display your license. This is mostly for firms, but you have to make sure your license is displayed and the complaint information is displayed. Advertising, we have to make sure it doesn't contain false or fraudulent, misleading information. We all know that, right? Fees. Do any of you provide your services on a contingent fee basis? Anybody? I should hope not. We shall not provide court reporting services on a contingent fee basis under any circumstances. I want to get paid. I'm sure y'all do too.
Well, we don't do it knowingly anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We don't do it knowingly. True. Very true.
We're not willing.
That's true. It says we shall charge all parties to an action the same price for an original transcript or a reporter's record. So if you're taking, if you're doing both, let's say you had both sides, you have to make sure that you are charging, if your page rate is $4.85, let's just throw it out there, then you have to charge $4.85 for both parties for the original one, right? You can't charge this party $4.85 and, oh, you're my best client, you get it for $4. It's got to be the same. Okay. Let's see, and same thing with copies, 1/3. You have to make sure you're charging the same thing. Like services, you know, when you provide like real time and those kinds of things, you don't give it away. Like, you know, like I was talking about giving things at the same time. There's like services. So I always tell people, you know, I had an attorney say the other day, well, if he's getting it on Tuesday, then I want it Tuesday too. And I'm like, okay, you realize you're paying for that, right? It's a 3-day rush. He's like, oh, no, he's getting on that day. And I'm like, no, it's like services. If you want it the same day, you'll get it for an exact 1/3 of what he's paying for it. So if you kind of put it in terms they understand, you know, it's the 1/3 rule. It's like services. It's 1/3 of what he's paying for the original. That's what you're paying. So if you want it at the same time and you want it rushed just like he does, you're going to pay the 1/3. Otherwise, I'm going to hold on to this for 6 days and you'll get it at the end of the 6 days. And when you explain it in those terms, they usually get it and they're like, oh, well, I'll just go ahead and pay. It's only how much? A few cents? Yeah. It's not that big of a deal in the big picture of things, right? So it's all about explaining and making sure they understand it. And then, of course, we all know continuing education. How many hours, people? 10. And how many hours of ethics? 2.5. Awesome. I knew you knew that one. And we are prohibited from discriminatory activities. Who knew we could do that as court reporters? But mostly this is for firms, really. We cannot willfully manifest by words or conduct bias or prejudice based on race, color, national origin, religion, disability, age, sex, or sexual orientation towards any person involved in an action or proceeding in any capacity or in hiring practices or in accepting business. We can't turn down business from somebody because they're Muslim. Just throwing it out there. Whatever it is, you can't, you know, if you don't like that attorney, you can't say, I don't like you, I'm not taking your work. Basically, that's all it's saying. Even though sometimes you want to, right? Just be honest, I know you do. So anybody have anything happen to them lately that you want to talk about? Oh, come on.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
if you're going to do your panel, you're going to run out of time.
I know, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm going
And
over
we're
now.
time for a break.
Oh, break. Okay, sorry. Break.
All right. You're almost there. Right? Just 6 more hours and you go home. Oh, suddenly we got their attention. Wait a second, that's not right. It's bad information. All right. Different groups are going to be coming up here to speak. So we're going to do some role-playing stuff. 2 things. One, this is a really weird table. So just watch with your legs on the other side so you don't walk out of here like crippled or something, okay? So you might have to sit back a little bit from it. I don't know why they gave us this table. It's like the table from hell. And maybe we need to just bring one of these up instead. I don't know, but I guess it looks better pertinent and stuff.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, and 2, please speak loudly. Okay, so we can pick you up on the camera. So she didn't have to spend her whole time repeating everything that everybody says. Are you going to be taking questions and stuff from the audience?
Yeah, we will.
So please, if you're talking from the audience, make sure you're the only one talking at that time, like it's a deposition and you want to get everybody down, okay? So raise your hand, she'll call on you, and if she's talking too fast, tell her to slow down. Okay?
Bad habits.
And here we are, the next part of ethics.
Ooh, ready for some fun? Yeah. Does anybody, before we go to the next part, does
Can we
anybody
have, wait, first can we have a nice round of applause for Pam?
Before we go on to the next fun part, does anybody have any more questions before I move on? Yes, ma'am.
Why in the world is the format say that we cannot print transcripts on non-reproducible, printable paper, because this would really solve the problem of not getting paid on these copies, or what's their thinking?
You got me.
Well, if you have any advocacy with them at all.
I don't.
Oh my gosh, that just seems like a ridiculous.
I think it would solve a lot of free transcript issues, except for E-Tran. I mean, that's easy to pass on, but yeah, that's been in place forever. I don't know a time when it wasn't in place, so I don't know that there's any alternatives to that at all.
A long time ago, that question came up, and a lady behind me, I don't know what county, in Dallas or somewhere she was from, and she said it had to do with the appellate courts making copies. Yeah, because they have to be able to make copies. And then later on in the years, I learned through somebody, I don't remember who, they didn't buy a record from me, but they got a copy from the appellate court for a lot cheaper.
Oh, no.
But we e-filed it.
The county seats.
Or district.
So I have a question for y'all. Let's say you're on a video deposition. I'm sorry to keep throwing deposition. I'm not an official, sorry. We're on a video deposition, and the attorneys are on the same side, and they're whispering to each other, but it's loud enough for the reporter to hear and the video to pick up. Do you write it or do you not write it?
I write it.
Do you write it?
Did
it not have? If you can hear it, write it. I'm just curious because I had that question come up from a couple people, and I was getting various answers on that. I always write it, but
Yeah, if you can hear it, you can hear it.
I was just wondering. I always just say, are we on or off?
Yeah.
And then, just wondering. Okay, now, we're going to do something a little different. So I have a question. How many of you in here are officials? Let me see hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 of you. Okay, 10 officials. How many of you are freelancers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Captioners? Just one? Okay. Mind if I lump you? Did you do freelance before?
Freelance what?
Did you do freelance before?
Freelance what? Court reporting?
Yeah.
No.
No, okay. Were you an official? Sorry.
I was in court for like 3 weeks and I got the.
I got you. Okay. Anybody do anything else in here that I don't know about? Okay. All right. So we have, how many people do we have? 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You missed one freelance. I thought they
Did I?
counted 6.
You may be right. So we have 21 people. Okay. I'm trying to group you. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Let's see. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 21 people. Okay. I'm going to have to figure out how to group you. How many of you that are officials used to do freelance? Good. Then I can put you on either or. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, so we're going to play this fun little game. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. This is why I had you do those little pieces of paper. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put you in little groups, and you are going to draw 3 situations out of this bucket. And there's some transcripts here you can read from, or you can make up your own. I don't care. Make up your own. We're going to have 4 people to a group, and you're going to be either the court reporter, plaintiff attorney, defense attorney, or the witness. And you're going to play out these situations that you're about to draw out of this bucket. And we're going to see how you handle these situations. And then we're going to talk about them. You're not going to hate me, are you? I said you were going to love me or hate me when this is done, right? Okay, so let's have 4 people who are officials up here. 4 officials. Any of you, just come on up. I need one more. Come on, Braxel. So y'all are going to come right up here, and you can't move the chairs because they'll be out of the line of the camera. So try to squish yourselves in there. You can pull back, just can't pull them sideways. And y'all can draw your parts here. The parts are all in that bag. I'll get to draw. Now here's what I want y'all to do out there. I want y'all to do the same thing. I want you to get in little groups of 4. Officials together, freelancers together, I don't care. Just get yourselves together in groups of 4. And one person from each group, come get one of these bags from me. Please. Come on, peeps. Snap to it. You guys want to be full of bags. Thank you. Here's 2 bags for your group. Receive 1. Have it, guys. You're the reporter? You get the fun job. So the rest of you, one person from each group, come get a bag. And then y'all all draw a part. Another group, come on. Come on, people.
You can be with us. Is there another one? Okay.
We can do, if there's more, we can do 6. We can be a court. I have judge and bailiff over here too. We can do that. Which one are you, judge and bailiff?
I don't know. Let's come over.
We haven't figured it out.
If you need that, I got it. Got 4?
We just got our 4, yeah.
Is everybody got 4? Is there one with 6 or 5 or something? You have 2? Okay, why don't you guys go sit with another group and we'll make it you got the guys there. You got 4. Yes, you are. You're playing. You're not getting out that easy. Yeah. Not gonna get out that easy. I'll pass these out in a sec. Okay, now here's what I want. Here's what we're gonna do. Where's my book? Here. Okay. So you guys are gonna draw. Let's do 4 situations because each of y'all get to draw 1 card. Let's draw 1 card. Yeah. Now pass it down. Each of you grab 1 card. Yeah. And they're just various situations that happen. Just various things. Okay? Now, what I want you to do is read out your situations. We'll start with you. Read them out.
I didn't have exhibits for hearing and had to run to clerk's office to get them.
Okay, what's yours?
I had a week trial with an attorney that talked 300 words per minute. I asked politely several times during trial. Every time he repeated, he walked over to me and made his big eyes big and screamed the words. At one point, without jury present, I spoke up, "What would you do?"
Okay, yours?
A defendant in felony court almost ran me over trying to escape the courtroom because he had a warrant.
Oh, sure. Okay, and
This
yours?
was a little confusing, okay?
Okay, what does it say?
It just starts off, then ran, I'm thinking there's a first part to this. Then ran upstairs to the street, oh, here we go. Okay, so.
Had a warrant, then ran
Upstairs to the street, carjacked, and then they crossed it out, stole the cop car. The cop car.
Carjacked.
Oh my gosh.
And then it says stole the cop car. Then T-boned a lady at an intersection, then the news showed up.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That one's going to be hard to act. Let's just take that one away. That's awesome, but that's hard to act. You can do that. You can do that. So grab another one. So grab another one. That'll be hard to act out. So what does that one say?
Attorney walks in and makes reporter move everything to where behind witness.
So they're sitting behind the witness. Yeah.
Oh, got it.
You're sitting behind the witness. And okay, you grab one. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can pull it out. You want to go with her? You can look her.
Way to go, Scott.
Okay.
Oh, mine is can understand witness better than the interpreter. Oh no, what to do?
Okay. Can you all hear that? So I'm going to read them again. So make sure you got them on the video. She didn't have exhibits for a hearing and had to run to clerk's office to get them. Other side. had a week trial with an attorney that talked 300 words per minute. I'm guilty of that too, sorry. I asked politely several times during trial. Every time he repeated, he walked over to me and made his eyes big and screamed the words. At one point, without the jury present, I spoke up, "What would you do?" And then this one, attorney walks in and makes reporter move everything that she just set up to move behind the witness. And this one is, can understand the witness better than the interpreter. Oh no, what to do? Okay, so that's what y'all have to act out. So, y'all can make up your own thing as you go if you want to. Because now you're the reporter, and you are, what part are you?
The plaintiff.
You're the plaintiff.
Defense attorney. I'm the witness.
And you're the witness. Okay, so y'all got the parts there? Okay, y'all can use a transcript if you want. I brought transcripts, or you can make it up as you go along. I don't really care. But you're going to act out all those situations.
Okay.
And we're going to see how you handle them. Okay? We're going to get going. Everybody ready? Here we go. What I want y'all to do when you come up here, the reporter sits in this chair. Everybody got it? Reporter sits right here. We want y'all on the video. So reporter sits here, and then we're just going to sit here. She's walking on, so just ignore what she's doing. But we're going to sit right here, and in whatever order you want. And when you come up here, I want you to read off your card so we know what you're acting out, and say your part. Who's playing what part, so we know who's doing what. So it makes more sense.
Read a part of who you are.
Who you are. Like she's reporter,
Oh, I'm gonna-
plaintiff attorney,
I'm
defense
gonna
attorney.
announce.
You're the witness, right? Okay.
No, I'm
the witness.
Okay.
Do we need to again explain since we already explained what we're
No, we already
doing?
got yours. We already got yours. Okay, everybody ready? Here we go. Here goes the first group.
Reporter, plaintiff attorney,
Witness.
Defense attorney. Hello, Marianne Ladine, defense attorney. Oh no, this setup's not gonna work. So not feng shui. Reporter, I need you to move back here behind the witness, please.
Excuse me, I've already set up where I am, and this is where I can do my job the best.
All right.
Thank you. Could you state your name for the record, please?
Stephen M. Halson.
And your occupation is?
Plastic surgeon.
You're an MD or a DO?
MD.
Board certified?
Yes.
Excuse me, could you slow down just a little bit, please? And when did you pass your boards?
It's been about 8 years.
Okay, and are you currently with a group?
Yes.
And what group?
Plastic.
Is that?
Surgery Associates.
And where are they located?
They're located at 6585 South Yale Avenue, William Medical Building, Suite 1020.
And do you have privileges at any of the local hospitals here in Tulsa?
I'm
Yes.
sorry, can you repeat your question? You're going a little fast for me.
And do you have privileges at any of the local hospitals here in Tulsa?
Yes.
What hospitals?
Hillcrest, St. John's, St. Francis, Oklahoma Surgical Hospital,
goodness.
and that's it.
Where are you going? I forgot to get up exhibits. I gotta go to the clerk's office and get them. And I would yell "oh" first, by the way. Okay, I am so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking, but these were the exhibits that I could find. I hope they're all there. Okay. Okay, were you testifying for the defendants or the plaintiff, or do you recall?
The defendant.
Was it a medical malpractice case? See?
Yes, it was a medical malpractice case.
That's not what she said.
Yes.
Do you recall the name of the attorney who hired you?
No.
No, I don't recall the name of the attorney.
She's being the interpreter.
Do you recall how long ago it was?
2 o 3 años, más o menos.
Definitely 2 or 3 years. Okay, I think that's it for a situation.
Okay, so is there anything y'all would have done any differently on that? Anything y'all would have done differently?
Exactly how
I will tell you that my situation was the attorney that got in my face to repeat his question, and I mean this was in court.
Yeah.
So the jury went out and we had 4 attorneys at the bench, and I asked him to repeat himself. He came over and got in my face,
Oh my
and I said, okay, we're stopping, we're not going any further, you've done this to me all week. You're rude. And my judge is sitting there. I go, you have been disrespectful and rude to me, and I'm just trying to do my job.
Good for you.
And he bought my lunch.
As long
as
it was unprepared by itself, right?
If you're checking up for yourself.
What
would y'all, yeah.
Oh, no, I was gonna say that I would have probably just told my judge about it, and I know he would have taken care of it.
It was really hard though, because it was really bad. I mean, he was screaming in my face.
Where was your face?
Can I just say, some of y'all are very fortunate to work for judges who have your back.
Yeah.
But they're not all like that.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that right?
I work for one. Yes.
No, I'm
She
not being
doesn't.
funny, is that-
No, I work for a judge who has no clue what a court reporter does, how nothing, and she is not supportive, and she doesn't want to be.
Well, let me ask you, does she back you up when you have to stop someone? I mean, does she not want you to interject?
It slows things down. She's in a hurry to get everything done.
We have to educate
So she
our-
doesn't, so she won't ask a witness to slow down. She won't say one at a time. She wants to hurry up and get it done. And actually my situation that I wrote down, one of them is that at one point, after about 6 months, I had to go in her office on a break during a jury trial and say, Judge, you have got to help me. They're talking, 3 people at a time or whatever. I said, there's no human way possible that I can make a good record. And my license is on the line. I need your help.
I've been
I didn't get a
fortunate.
response.
Well, then at that point, then you're on your own.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
then you turn around and do exactly what we talked about this morning, is that you cover your own butt.
Yeah.
You said,
That's
when I'm
right.
counsel, I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now,
That's
because
right.
you don't have a judge up there that's gonna help you, and say, I'm telling you right now, and go through what Anita said, or just walk and get the other exhibits in the other room. I mean, I'm just kidding.
Well, and the thing is, I've been a reporter for 25 years. I know how to do my job. I have the speed, but there's some things we just can't do.
Yeah, but your speed is linear.
Yeah.
You're
You
right.
can only,
You're right.
you could write like the wind
Yeah.
at 280 words a minute in a pristine environment. A
Right.
good friend of mine, Mark Kisselberry, is in the Guinness Book of World Records, and it wasn't everybody talking at one time.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
somebody speaking very clear, right to his face,
Yeah.
at 310 words a minute. And it wasn't, get the loudest voice.
Yeah, maybe I'm naive, but because I don't work in court, but I mean, in Harris County, I just know, I talk with a lot of the officials because of me owning the school. And so I know that like Carolyn Coronado and those groups of people, they have stuff at their courthouse where they educate their judges. The court reporters get together and they work on presentation and they educate their judges. And I also know that Kim Tyndall has a presentation for attorneys, not for judges necessarily, but for attorneys about how to work with the court reporter to have a better record. It's like Court Reporting 101. So maybe that's something that you need to talk with Kim about, coming and presenting to the judges in your courthouse.
Well, the
Just
judge
a thought.
has to be open to it, though.
True.
Yeah.
Because
I was
we have had
fortunate
something.
that
Yeah,
the
because
judge
I work at
worked
the same
for.
courthouse she does, and my judge is awesome. And he takes very good care of me.
He's the
and
best
he
judge
makes a great
anybody-
record. So I
best
think
judge
a lot of
anybody can work
times,
for.
maybe judges don't care for court reporters sometimes.
Yeah.
My judge was, worked on the Fourth Court of Appeals and was an appellate attorney, so she knows how important the record is.
Right.
And she
Yeah.
knows that she wants a good record.
Right, that's
Right.
good.
So,
Let me ask you a question. Do you think your judge would be amenable to say, Judge, would you speak at one of our associations?
That's a good idea.
And you understand there's, you get more with honey than you do vinegar, and say, Judge, would you speak, and here, I made an outline for you about about the integrity of the record.
Very good
And have her
idea.
That would be
speak on
very
that subject
interesting.
alone,
Put her on the spot.
And let her get her little hiney in gear.
Very
And
good.
say, oh, man, look at
Yeah.
that, look at that. So
It's a great
ask her to do
idea.
that.
I mean, she is an awesome judge.
I get that.
We do veterans
get that.
court, mental court,
That's a very good
I guess
idea.
that you speak at your next association and do a head note saying, I'd like for you to talk about the integrity of the record.
Very good idea.
That's interesting.
Very good idea. Anything else y'all would have done differently? Like her running out to get the exhibits in the middle of the job? What would y'all?
maybe she could have said, can we go off the record a minute?
Yeah, can we go off the record a minute? Something.
I like what she did.
She just ran. I was like, what the heck is she doing?
No, we have to ask in real life. Let's have fun today.
And what else would y'all do about, I mean, I've had this happen where they want you to sit behind the witness and you can't see their mouth and you can't hear them and you're in a big room, it's vibrating off.
I think she did it perfect by telling
Yeah.
them that I put my job
Exactly.
right here.
Exactly.
I mean, my
Yeah.
job is super. Yeah, I
Yeah.
need to be able to see her
Yeah.
mouth. That's part of my job.
Yeah.
When I was a new reporter, though, I would have never done that. You know, and I think it's the old-timey attorneys that will want to put you in the corner.
Well, let me
Not
tell
the
you, my
progressive
very
ones.
worst court reporting experience was, I don't know how many years ago, not probably 10, but it was a Saturday, and it was like an insurance hearing thing, and there were like 50 actuaries from all over the country in the room, probably 5 attorneys, 3 commissioner, or 3, whatever, on the panel, and then a hearing officer. And the witness is clear across the room. It's a big room, horrible acoustics, air noise. They have the speaking person come up to the mic, but they're talking that way.
Yeah.
You have your panel up here talking that way. They have the court reporter way back over here in a little corner with no options. That's where I had to sit. And it was okay, but there was this one elderly man that had a really, really deep, low voice. And when he came up, he was an attorney, and so when he was doing his opening statement or whatever, it went on forever. And I felt like about 101 temperature. I had strep throat. It's a Saturday. I got there at 8, and we went till 8 at night.
Oh.
And I was there half a day the day before, and it went fine. So the next day, I was okay. I was like, I can do this. And that whole time that that man was up there, I kept saying, I cannot hear him. I cannot hear him. I said it so many times. And so he would speak up for one sentence or 2 sentences. Yeah. And, what do you do? Okay, during a break, the hearing officer comes over and looks at my screen. And there's nothing, it's like,
Yeah.
I can't hear him.
Yeah.
And he didn't say a word. And luckily we were recording it, and they had a big recording setup thing here, and we got through that 10 or 15 minutes of crap.
Okay, here we go, guys. Here's the next one. So we've got reporter, witness, plaintiff attorney, defense attorney.
Witness.
Got it.
Okay, I'm just going to introduce this first scenario.
Okay.
Is that the reporter gets to the job and then realizes that she doesn't have her machine.
After opening her trunk, she realizes she doesn't have his or her machine.
Oh my God.
Wonder what the hell.
Y'all ready?
Come on, brother.
I'm kind of running early. Holy crap, I don't have a machine!
What do you do?
I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson, but I've left my machine. My machine is not in my trunk, but I have a second one on the way, or I have a reporter coming to replace me.
How long is that going to take?
I don't know.
What do you think, counsel? Let's give it an hour.
Wow.
I'll say that more like 5 minutes. By the time we regroup and get all of it together, do you think that it could be soon, Ms. Reporter?
I will try, Mr. Johnson, my best.
Well, we're not asking you to try. What can you do?
It will be here. It will be here within the hour.
Fair enough.
Okay.
What do you say?
I guess so.
So, it's been
Scenario number 2.
Scenario number 2 is reporter gets to the job, we are on the record for a few minutes, and then realizes that the attorneys realize that they are not getting real-time feed.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Counsel, you ready?
I am.
Ma'am, are you ready?
Yes.
Ms. Reporter, would you swear in the witness?
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the evidence your testimony will give today is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Ma'am, state your name.
My name is Diana Weigel,
Where do you live, ma'am?
Mission, Texas.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait, I'm paying for real time. There's no feed here.
Oh my, I'm so
Can we go off the record for a minute? Do you agree?
Let's get this fixed.
My computer just shut down all of a sudden. I don't know what happened.
Let's go off the record, and can you resolve the problem before we go back on?
Yes, Mr. Johnson, but how much time? I need to make a few phone calls.
Take your time.
Okay, thank you.
I've got another depot in about
30 minutes. Ms. Reporter, how long do you think this will take?
An hour?
See what you can do. If it's going to be shorter than that, let's see what we can do if you make that phone call and get
Yes.
back with us after the phone call.
Yes, Mr. Johnson.
You're such a...
My machine was up there, I got machines.
Hey,
I got
Brenda,
machines.
oh, we're done with that scenario. Come on back. All right, scenario number 3.
Scenario number 3 is that the defense attorney
The questioning attorney
the questioning attorney tells the reporter that that is not what he had said.
on the real-time screen.
On the real-time screen.
Witness, court reporter, pain in the ass defense attorney, plaintiff attorney.
Okay.
Would you swear in the witness, please?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
State your name.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Where do you live?
San Antonio, Texas.
Ma'am, how long have you been certified?
26 years.
And what's your specialty?
Court reporting.
With that said, where did you attend college?
Pan American University.
Would you repeat that, ma'am?
Pan American University.
Miss Reporter, she said Pan American, not South American.
She said Pan American.
Pan American. You have South American.
Well, let me correct that.
Ma'am, for the record, and on my real-time screen it said South American. Would you please repeat for the record where you went to college?
Pan American
It
University.
still says South America.
I must have my dictionary to where it says Pan American instead of South American. I don't know what.
Ma'am, for the record, would you replace, and counsel, if we can have the stipulation that anything that says South American should be Pan American?
Oh my gosh.
At least up to page 2.
If y'all can give me a moment, I can read my.
Ma'am, you've got all of the moments that you could.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about skydiving?
Okay, so how would y'all handle any of that differently?
Nope.
As a reporter. Yes, as a reporter, would you handle any of that differently? Oh, sorry, gotta get back over here.
I would have
apologized
profusely. Pretended I had a heart attack and had to go to the ER. I've gotten very sick real fast. Thank you.
A lot more crying, a lot more crying.
I would have got hold on the floor. They would have had to hold my
What else, well, I can't even talk. Would you have done anything differently than what she did? Like when it was coming out South American, would you have said anything different? I would have said something completely different. What would you have said?
Well, you can't take a correction from me.
Yeah, I would have said, just a sec, I would have just reached up and fixed it really fast.
Yeah, redefined it.
Could you repeat that?
I would have, I'm sorry, what?
Could you repeat that? When she was talking, you couldn't hear it at all.
Oh, what did you say? I'm sorry, what did you say?
Well, I mean, I don't know that I would take the dictation from the attorney as
Yeah.
a correction.
She wouldn't take the dictation from the attorney as a correction. I would have just said, hold a sec, and I would have reached up and fixed it. I'm always fixing as I go. I'm just fixing as I would have said, just a sec, and I would just fix as I go. I just fixed it.
He said, you had no moments.
Right. I just reached out and done it while he's talking. You know? And then on the machine, her computer went off. Now, I have had that happen in a deposition. And I just said, hang on, can you just give me 1 second? I need a technical break, 1 second. I turned everything off, turned everything back on, everything was fine.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just have to you can't let them see you sweat, because then they think that your record is trash.
Yeah.
That's true.
So you've got to stay composed, and you've got to say, please just give me 1 second for a technical break. Just 1 sec, and I try to do what I need to do, restart. One time I had to call, I was about to take Wayne Dolcefino's deposition. For those of you who don't know, Channel 13 reporter. I was just about to take his depo. We had been waiting for him for 30 minutes. Everything was working fine. He walks in the room, everything freaking goes off. And I'm like, what happened? And so I called Efren, who's our guy in Houston, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I tried to fix it, couldn't get it back up. And so he taught me through something. He goes, do this will work. And I did it, and I was like, oh, it's working, it's fine. So it only took me like 10 minutes. I went in the bathroom. I'm talking on the phone in my bathroom with my computer. What do I do? Because I didn't want them to see me. I didn't want them to see me sweat, because they had been waiting for him. So I just said, just 1 second, be right back. Let me go talk to my technical guy, I'll be right back. And I was back in like 10 minutes. I was like, let's do it, we're good. And everything was fine. But if you show them that you are sweating, they're gonna ask you to read back every 5 seconds. Because they're gonna think you're not getting it. So never let them see you sweat. Okay? Anything else? Anything about that at all? Okay, who wants to go next?
What about the no machine?
The no machine.
That's where I would have said.
I've never I don't know, I've never had that happen. Knock on wood, that because I try to leave it. But if that ever happened, I would do just what she said. I would call a friend. If I had somebody at home that could go get it for me, or if I had a friend that wasn't working that day, say, can I please borrow your machine and borrow it, or call your firm. In Houston, I would call Efren and say, hey, do you have a backup? Can you bring it to me right now? I'll send a courier, whatever I have to do. I'll pay you a courier fee, whatever, can you send it? He's done that for me before when I was in a depot and my cord on my writer went out and I had no battery backup. And so he was there in 20 minutes. He sent a courier with it, I paid the courier, gave him my credit card number, all was good. So you just gotta, I try to have extra backups of everything in my car. I think I have extra backups for everything but a writer.
Yeah.
So, but I know I have an extra one at school, so if I was desperate, I'd call my admin and say, I need a writer, get it to me right now. So you just gotta find those people that you can use as backup, just in case. And always check your trunk to make sure you got your stuff before you walk out the door. I do that every time I leave my house. I open my computer bag. Did I put my computer and my cord in there? Do I have backups? Do I have an extension? Do I have my machine? I do that every morning before I walk out the door.
My husband loads up my machine for me every morning, and I start to pull out of the driveway, and I always stop. Go check the back.
Just to be sure.
Double check.
Okay, who's next? Come on, group, you're ready. Let's do it. Come on, you got it. Come on, chop. Reporter here. Except y'all have two, right?
Yes.
Okay. Don't forget to state your part and your scenarios. Reporter here, first one, second one could be somebody can be over here.
I'll be the two.
Reporters.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get here to send
Don't forget to state your scenarios and your parts.
Okay, this one is two reporters show up. Oh no.
Reporter. Now, make sure y'all speak up so everybody can
I'm
hear you
sorry,
back.
two reporters show up. Oh no.
I'm one of the reporters that got here first.
I'm the one that got here second.
What part are you? Witness?
Oh.
She's going to walk in.
Oh, okay.
This is the asking attorney, witness, and objecting attorney.
Gotcha. Okay.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
Did you have a notice? Were you?
I did.
Should we talk
So
about
do I. Here's mine.
Where did you come from?
The plaintiff's attorney called 2 weeks ago and sent me this notice. Asked me to be here.
Okay, well, you're set up and I'm not, so you go ahead and take the job. Okay. Oh, the next one. Telephonic depot, bad connection, can't hear questions. Okay.
Telephonic depot, bad connection, can't
Can't hear
hear.
questions. You're gonna have to ask. So she's not here.
She's on the phone.
Could you please say your name for the record, please?
Stephen M. Paulson,
And your occupation is?
plastic surgeon.
You're an
Excuse me.
MD.
I cannot hear you.
And when did you post report?
It's been about 8 years.
I'm still not hearing you.
And are you currently in a group?
Objection form.
This is not getting on the record. Just to inform you, I cannot hear.
Okay, well, I guess that's. Okay, and then the next one is contentious case, witness violent, threatening, reporter sees weapon on witness.
That's real.
Start over.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Stephen N. Paulson,
And what is your occupation?
plastic surgeon.
And are you an MD or a DO?
I don't mean to interrupt, but I need to take a break.
No.
911?
Okay, so let's talk about those. Okay, so what do you do when you have a telephonic deposition like that and you can't hear the plaintiff attorney? The first thing I always do is ask them to call back in, and let's see if we can fix the connection problem. The second thing that I do, I also have like a little thing I can hook to the phone to make it louder. I always take that with me if I'm on a telephonic deposition, so I can connect it just in case. I also take my own speakerphone that I know is good, that I keep in my trunk. And so if it's a horrible speakerphone, because sometimes you walk in and they have those just crappy old phones. Yeah, sometimes a cell phone is better. I've used a cell phone before. But I take a loudspeaker phone with me in my car, and I'll take it in just in case, and I'll pull it out, and I'll say, well, let's try this one, and let's try calling back in and see if we can get a better connection. And if it's just a mess and I can't hear, I'll just say, hey, this record is not happening today, unless you want me to put, unintelligible on all your questions because I can't hear you. And then the thing about the reporters, 2 of them coming in, she was very generous. I would have fought for that job. I would have let the attorney make that decision because we knew that she was hired by the plaintiff attorney, but who's taking it? Was it the defense attorney or the plaintiff attorney that was actually taking the depo? That was the number one thing. And so then you want to know, okay, who hired you? Maybe y'all were hired by different people. I've gone to depots before. I went to one, I drove all the way to Beaumont from Houston, and there was 3 court reporters there. One was hired by a third party, and that happened to be me, and I questioned my firm 3 times about it. I'm like, are you sure? This is a third party. There's other parties. Are you sure that I'm supposed to be at this job? Because usually third parties very seldom hire the court reporter. And they were like, yeah, we checked it out. And I'm like, okay. So I get there, and there's one hired by the plaintiff attorney, one hired by the defense attorney, one hired by third party. So of course, I was the first one there because I had to drive the farthest. I was the first one that got sent home because I was hired by third party.
Oh, sure.
So you want to, I always am very professional with the other reporter, but you want to call your firm, and you also want to wait till the attorneys get there and find out who hired who and who gets to stay. Because here's the other thing, they may have some kind of deal with one firm that's doing their stuff, like, these insurance things they got going on. They may be required to use a certain reporter from a certain firm. And if you left and they've got this other one, they may not be allowed to use the other one. So you may want to stick around to be sure before you lose that job. Make sense? And then what was your other scenario? I just lost it. The weapon. That actually happened to me. I was in a job, and I was in a divorce case with a very, very violent man that was really mad, that wanted custody of his kid, and they were all laughing at him. He did a lot of crazy things during his deposition, and he was very threatening to me through the whole thing. And I was very calm, and at a break after lunch, I happened to look down and saw a knife in his pocket. And it wasn't there before. Because believe me, I was watching him because I was very non-trusting of him. He was making me very nervous. And so I actually was doing, I had my computer, we were in a really tiny room, and I wrote on my computer, knife in his pocket, do something now, and tapped my attorney on the leg. And he saw my note, and he asked for a break. And they went out of the room, got him out of the room, and took the knife away from him. Wow. But, you got to be observant, because especially when you're doing contentious cases, you got to be very observant about what's going on. Would anybody have handled any of those things any differently? Anything? Okay, thank you guys. Good job. Next group.
Okay, put nice round of applause for Pam Cole. Well, there you go, you're done. How easy was that? I hope you had a great time taking this program. Now you have a few more CEUs to add to your CEU bucket there. Now remember, if you're taking one of our longer courses, please wait until you finish all the seminars before you send us your answers. And please try to, if you're going to put them in an email, copy them in one straight vertical line, separated by the different course titles. And that makes it easy for me to grade, makes it go a lot faster, and I don't make any mistakes. Well, not so much. Okay. And also you can scan them in order and send them to me as well. Remember, we're always putting new content up here. Every year we will have at least 4 to 10 more hours worth of CEUs that you can get here from the comfort of your home. So if you know more court reporters that would like to get their credits that way, please let them know about it. And remember, your home for CEUs online, Jeff Justice Seminars, where you can get your CEUs online anytime.